Series with Joaquin Andujar, the young man who will pitch bare-armed in Milwaukee, the young man from the Dominican Republic against 18-game winner Pete Vukovich. Sparky, to start it off, while we have the luxury of a little bit of time and before the lineups, maybe you could talk to us about Pete Vukovich a little bit.
Well, Pete likes to pitch from behind, Ben. He's one of those guys that I think he thinks that he's a much better pitcher when you're hitting at him 2 balls and 1 strike, 3 and 1. He seems to make better pitches when he's behind you. When he's ahead of you, it seems like that he will make a mistake. He's not throwing near as hard as you remember when he was in the National League. He's more turning the ball over, more breaking stuff and change-ups now.
Well, Milwaukee will be introducing the home team in one moment. So now let's take a look at the Cardinal lineup that will be challenging Vukovich. Tommy Herr leading off at second base. Ken Oberkfell, the left-hand hitting third baseman who has hit in 5 straight, the championship series and the 2 games in the World Series. Keith Hernandez at first, and George Hendrick in right field in the cleanup spot. Darrell Porter has hit in 5 straight, the championship series and the first 2 games of the World Series. Lonnie Smith, who has been struggling with the bat, and of course he makes a big difference in the attack for the Cardinals. He's in left field. Dane Orge is the designated hitter. Willie McGee will be hitting 8th in center field, and Ozzie Smith, the shortstop, batting 9th. And of course, just to refresh your memory, in case you haven't been keeping close tabs on the series, why this is a designated hitter year. For Milwaukee, Paul Molitor opening up at third base, followed by Robin Yount at shortstop. Cecil Cooper will be at first base, and Ted Simmons behind the plate. Ben Ogilvie will be in left field. Gorman Thomas will be in center. Roy Howell, the left-hand batter, will be the designated hitter for the Brewers. Charlie Moore will be in right field. Moore, by the way, has hit in 7 straight, the 5 championship games and the 2 World Series. And the second baseman, Jim Gampner. And now the Milwaukee Brewers, American League champions, take the field. The umpires charged with the responsibility of the heavy work here. John Kebler of the National League behind the plate. Dave Phillips of the American League at first. Satch Davidson of the National League at second. Jim Evans of the American League at third. Lee Wire of the National League on the left field foul line. And Bill Haller of the American League on the right field foul line. Pete Vukovich, making the walk-in from the bullpen, stops to visit with Jim Gampner for a moment. Vuk was 18-6 this year. He was in 30 games, second to Caldwell in complete games. He had 9. He had 1 shutout. At one stage, from the All-Star game through the middle of September, Vukovich won 8 straight. And up until the middle of September, and this was rather awesome, he was 13-1 at night. And for 2 years, working for the Brewers, his record 22-2 at night. The Brewers are home, and yet there is no real home field advantage as far as the numbers are concerned. In other words, the Cardinals had the exact same home record as they did on the road in the National League. Exactly the same, 46-35. As far as the Brewers are concerned, there's only 1 game difference between home and road. They were 48-34 at home, 47-33 on the road. So really, or maybe you would dispute it, Spark. Maybe there is a home field advantage.
I don't think there's a home field advantage, Ben. I think that clubs that win pennants, the reason they win them is they balance their attack. They can play in any park in the league, and they can win any place, and they can lose any place. But to win a pennant, you have to be balanced. You just can't win in one park.
For Pete Vukovich, he wound up with that 18-6 record. He tied the American League in winning percentage for the 2nd straight year. And he was right up there with Larry Gura and Jeb Zahn with the 18 wins, 1 behind Lamar Hoyt. So Pete Vukovich, the big man in the plans for the Milwaukee Brewers, tuning up. Tomorrow, in Game 4, the left-hander Dave LaPointe, who was 9-3 for the Cardinals, and he'll go against right-hander Moose Haas, who was 11-8. Another thing, Spark, if you didn't know Vukovich at all and you looked at his numbers, you would see he was an 18-game winner, and you'd say, wow, he's a star. But then you look at hits compared to innings, more hits than innings pitched, and probably his biggest shock, and, let's say a man like Branch Rickey, rest his soul, would be shocked, because he always said, look at the ratio of walks to strikeouts. Well, if you looked at Vukovich's ratio, He walked 102 and struck out 105. There's no way he can win 18 games, and yet he has.
Well, the only thing about Vukovich tonight is a little different with the Cardinals, Vin, because if he pitches his normal game where he gives up 8, 9, 10 hits and, say, walks 4, with the speed the Cardinals have, they're going to open that speed up.
And the other thing, I guess, that explains his 18, the fact of the power plant here in Milwaukee that has gotten him a lot of runs. All right, Pete Vukovich is ready. So is the leadoff man, Tommy Herr. A switch hitter batting left-handed. Herr takes inside. Ball 1, 1-0. Tommy has 1 hit in the series and an RBI. And we're not going to bother now giving you a whole bunch of numbers for season's work and then how they did in the championship. We'll just concentrate on the World Series. And the 1-0 pitch in there for a strike. In the count 1-1. Tommy Herr does not get the headlines, but day in and day out now, he is part of a very talented Cardinal infield. Vukovich looks into Ted Simmons. Right-hander ready and comes back, and Herr swings, fouls it away, and the count 1-2.
Vinny, the thing you're going to really notice about this ballpark, their infield, where we played on AstroTurf over in St. Louis, this is very close to AstroTurf. This is a very, very fast infield, short-cut grass, and very fast and quick dirt.
Well, we'll see about the infield of Cooper, Gantner, Yount, and Molitor now that they're home. One other thing we ought to talk to you about because of the home runs that the Brewers have hit this year. The pitch is inside, ball 2. It is only 315 feet down the line. Then it starts to fall away. 362 straight away left and right. The power alleys are 392 and straightaway center 402. So this is a smaller park than Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The 2-2 pitch is high, ball 3. So here we go. They said Vukovich likes to pitch a lot, and he's 3-2 on the leadoff man. Temperature 53 degrees, and the breeze about 16 miles per hour out of the northwest, which means it'll get a lot colder. 3-2 pitch, and Tommy Herr pops it up back at shortstop. Robin Yount going out to get it. Turns and makes the catch for the out. Boy, Vukovich gave him a lot of motion and not much on the pitch.
And that big old turnover changeup of his, and it was ball 4. Tommy just went after a bad pitch, and that's the thing so much I've found with Vukovich. You will chase bad pitches when you get 3-2 on it.
Now here's Ken Oberkfell. Oberkfell has hit in 5 straight, the championship series and each of the first 2 World Series. He's 3 for 6 in the series, a .500 average, and he takes a strike. He has 1 RBI, and he scored a run. Ken Oberkfell, the left-hand hitting third baseman. On deck, Keith Hernandez. Vuk back with a change. He just flipped it high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Vukovich, both feet on the rubber, looks down to get a sign. Now the 1-1 pitch to Ken Oberkfell. Breaking ball low, ball 2, 2-1. Pete Vukovich. He's 6'4", 220 out of Johnstown, PA. And the pitch is hit towards left center field. Coming in and over is Ogilvie to handle it. That was not hit hard. Oberkfell, a soft kind of a line drive to left center field. 2 down. And the batter will be Keith Hernandez. Hernandez, another left-hand batter. It is interesting. Herr and Oberkfell have had to go the other way. And as you pointed out, Sparky, Herr went after ball 4. We'll see what Hernandez does. He hasn't done anything yet. He is 0 for 7 in the World Series. He's been on base only once with a walk. And, of course, Keith is very much an integral part of the St. Louis attack. Vukovich ready and delivers, and Hernandez takes the strike. Breaking ball in there, 0-1. Cooper and Gantner are deep. Molitor is up wide of the bag, about even at third. And the next pitch to Hernandez is low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Vinny, the umpire, John Kibler, outstanding umpire, been in the National League for many, many years, and he got control of the ball game, too.
The 1-1 pitch on the way is a ground ball to the right side, right to Jim Gantner, and that will take care of that. So the Cardinals are out in order, and at the end of half an inning, the Cardinals nothing, and the Brewers coming up.
WMAQ. You gotta reach deep inside.
We've all felt it.
Come on, bring out that pride.
The challenge to make every effort count in all we do to bring out the best.
Bring out your best. Bring out your best. Bring out your best.
The challenge for us was to brew a light beer worthy of the king of beers. One with a clean, distinctive taste. Budweiser Light lives up to the challenge.
Bring Bring out your best.
Budweiser Light.
Bring out your best.
Budweiser Light.
To brew Budweiser Light, it took time, patience, and a commitment to quality. But then, the best never comes easy. That's why there's nothing else like it.
Budweiser Light.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Friends, this broadcast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Here come the Brewers. Paul Molitor, Robin Yount, and Cecil Cooper. And we'll set the Cardinals defensively for you. Keith Hernandez at first, Tommy Herr at second, Ozzie Smith at short, and Ken Oberkfell at third. In the outfield, Lonnie Smith in left, Willie McGee in center, and George Hendrick in right. Behind the plate, Darrell Porter, and on the hill, Joaquin Andujar, a 15-game winner with an ERA of a little bit less than 2.5. He won his last 7 victories, and he was undefeated in September and October. He was 5-0. In fact, the last time he lost a game was in August, the first week in August. Andujar will be 30 in December. He's an even 6, 180-pounder, and he comes from a little town in the Dominican Republic, San Pedro de Macorís, that has already spawned, at least to our knowledge, 4 big league ball players, maybe more. But the 4 that came to mind, Rufino Linares and Rafael Ramirez of the Braves, Pedro Guerrero of the Dodgers, and Joaquin Andujar of the St. Louis Cardinals. He's quite a pitcher.
That's not too bad a place to just put a scout there and leave him, Ben. Just leave him right there in that little town.
Joaquin Andujar throws fastball and slider. He has a very good forkball that he's been working on as a change of pace. He is learning the delicate art of applying finger pressure. A little more, let's say, on the index finger, then the next time on the middle finger to make the ball move. He will sidearm right-hand hitters. The one thing that the Cardinals will watch, among others, is his right knee. He has a little bit of a tendency when he pushes off the rubber to flare the right knee out. And when he flares that right knee out, he loses his location. But as a 15-game winner, he's ready to work to Paul Molitor, Robin Yount, and Cecil Cooper. Molitor had that great 5-hit game, so he has 7 hits in the series, and Paul takes high, ball 1. He has 1 RBI, scored a couple of runs, and was done very well with the glove at third base. Paul Molitor. Andujar, bare-armed, despite the fact the weatherman was talking about the temperature going to the 30s tonight, comes back for a strike, and the count 1-1. The outfield playing Molitor around the left. In back, Hendrick way over toward right center field. Andujar into the windup, and the 1-1 pitch is down and away, ball 2. So 2-1 to Paul Molitor. A 300 hitter during the regular year, and he had 19 home runs, which brings up a point. I'm sure you know that Milwaukee led the major leagues in home runs this year. They hit 216. Well, 89 of them they hit here. The 2-1 pitch is fouled away. That might come as a little bit of a surprise to you. You might think that they hit more home runs at home than on the road, but it didn't work out that way. How'd you do in this ballpark, Sparky?
We didn't do too well against Milwaukee, period, Ben. 3-10 don't give us any right to speak on them.
Okay. 2-2, the count to Paul Molitor. Sorry I brought it up. Ron Hansen coaching at first, and Harry Warner around at third. The 2-2 pitch, Molitor takes way outside, ball 3. So Andujar going all the way. Molitor, right-hand hitter, right foot on the back line. And Andujar goes to the rosin bag, kind of snatches at it, and throws it into the dirt. For 4 years, he was a spot starter, but now he takes his regular rotation, and the pitch fouled away again. Andujar, during the pennant stretch from the middle of August, was 7-0 in 11 starts. And in the 4 games where he didn't have a decision, the Cardinals won 3 of those 4. So he could easily have been 10-1. Here's a 3-2 pitch, and there's a high drive into dead center and deep. Back goes McGee, way back, leaps up and one-hands it at the fence.
That's just an outstanding catch, man. He went directly back to that ball, never hesitated a bit, knew right where the ball was at all times.
He caught it up against the 402-foot sign. And in looking at the flag, there is barely a zephyr if McGee doesn't get his arm fully extended so that his glove might have been just above the piping. That thing had a chance to go out on its own. So McGee makes a brilliant defensive play. In the old radio show, Tain't Funny McGee, Molitor goes back to the dugout and sits down. Here's Robin Yount. And Robin takes a strike, 0-1. Yount with 5 hits in the series, batting .500. Typical for Yount, he has 3 RBIs. The man who hit .331 during the regular year for the Brewers. 0-1 to Robin Yount. First inning, no score. And Duhar's fastball is lifted to right field. Hendrick in and over, waiting and makes the catch. That fastball, Yount didn't get around on it. 2 down, and Cecil Cooper, the batter, here in the first inning. Cooper hit 12 of his 32 home runs here in County Stadium. So the left-hand hitter with the open stance, and as you've told us, Sparky, likes that ball down.
Likes the ball down and in, Vinny, and likes off-speed stuff. That's the thing that he really likes to hit.
So Cecil Cooper. Coop is hitting .333 in the series. 1 RBI, and he has a half-swing foul on a pitch high and inside that seemed to tie him up, and he wasn't ready for it. He takes a walk out of the box and tries to limber up. He barely got the bat off his shoulder, and that fastball had a little mustard on it.
Well, Benny, the first 2 ball games, the Cardinals just continued to keep coming after him with hard stuff. So Timmy Thompson, their scout, Momo's Alley, they've done a good job of scouting.
0-1, the count is Cecil Cooper. 2 out in the first inning, no score. The Cardinals went out in order, and thanks to a fine play by McGee, the first 2 Brewers have gone down. There's a chopper to the right side. Herr goes out on the grass to handle it and throws him out. And at the end of an inning, no score.
WMAQ. I'm a clock manufacturer. Everything was ticking smoothly, except my assembly line. My big hands didn't know what my little hands were doing. I was making too many ticks and not enough talks. I had alarms I didn't need. My springs were springing all over. The whole thing was driving me cuckoo. Then I heard that IBM made small computers that could talk to each other. So I bought some small IBM computers for my assembly line, and they all talk to the small IBM computer in my sales office. And now I make the right amount of everything. I tell you more, except that I can see from looking at my watch that we've run out of time.
For more information, call IBM toll-free at 1-800-631-5582. That's 1-800-631-5582.
If you're a loyal fan, Honda understands you, because we've got a few loyal fans ourselves. According to the research people at R.L. Polk & Company, who check on these things, their 1981 new car buyer analysis shows Honda is #1 in owner loyalty among all leading import cars. We think that speaks highly of Honda quality and says something about the high intelligence of loyal fans.
We're going to the second inning here at County Stadium in Milwaukee. No score. George Hendrick, followed by Darrell Porter, and then Lonnie Smith. And, of course, for all of us, it's always great to come to Milwaukee, but particularly for a National Leaguer who hadn't been here since 1965 and who first started to come to County Stadium way back in 1953. Boy, Sparky, did we have some games in those days when the Dodgers would come in here with people like Robinson, Snyder, Campanella, Perillo, etc., and the Braves were here with people like Aaron and Matthews and Logan and Spahn and Burdette. It was something.
Well, they've had a lot of arguments here this summer. Not arguments, but people ask you in that, which is the best club, this Brewer club or the Brave club that of the 50s. I said I wouldn't even touch that with a 10-foot pole, but I will say this. Don't discount them Braves in the 50s. I said they were an outstanding team.
They were indeed. I remember the last game that the Dodgers played here at County Stadium in September of '65. There was a big cake in the dressing room, and the inscription, rather bitterly but true, on the cake, it said 20 million people were not enough. The Braves, of course, leaving here in '65 to go to Atlanta, and in 1970, Bud Selig buying the bankrupt Seattle Pilots, bringing them here, And here you are in 1982. They're the American League champions. I guess the only thing better than this series would have been a Milwaukee-Atlanta series, because then the traitors, the guys who had done them wrong, were going to be coming back here, but it didn't quite work out. George Hendrick to start it off, the right-hand hitting right fielder, and Vukovic's first pitch fouled away, 0-1. Hendrick in the series is without a hit. George is 0 for 7. So they have shut down the number 3 and 4 hitters in the Cardinal lineup, Hendrick and Hernandez. Big George, talented right fielder. Vukovic comes to him 0-1 and keeps it inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. They fan out because Hendrick will use all of the ballpark almost straight away. Pete Vukovic going up against his counterpart tonight, Joaquin Andujar. And there's a slicing pop fly. Back of first, down the line, peeling foul, drops untouched, and skips up into the lower deck. 1-2, the count to George Hendrick. Hendrick gets in a lot of trouble, and he's very inconsistent. He will go after that down and away pitch and try and pull it, and then you think, aha, we got him. That's the way to pitch him. And the next time with a man on base, he'll go that way and drill you to right field.
Well, I know this. Ever since the Cardinals got him, he's had nothing but great years for him.
He was a center fielder and thought it would be better if he moved over to right. The 1-2 pitch is outside, ball 2. He was moving over for Tony Scott, and then they traded Tony Scott for Joaquin Andujar. Then the big deal with the Yankees, and they wound up stealing Willie McGee, and here he is. The 2-2 pitch is pulled on the ground back a third. Molitor's going to have to hurry, and the throw is not in time. And let's see, is it fair or foul? The third base umpire, Evans, had ruled it a fair ball, but the call by Dave Phillips at first, I thought he was calling no play. So the third base umpire, Evans, running all the way over, indicating, hey, it was a fair ball. So the two umpires, and oddly enough, ironically, American League umpires, Dave Phillips at first and Jim Evans at third, and it appeared as if they had their signals crossed. And John Kibler now, the plate umpire, is coming out. It was a big high chopper up along third base, and in looking at Evans, he called the ball fair. But then looking at Phillips, he threw his hands in the air, and I thought Dave Phillips was calling no play. Sparky, that's kind of tough for the two umpires to have a disagreement here at the very start of the game.
Well, I know one thing. This might be a World Series. I don't care what it is. I'm going to be gone. I'm going right here.
Harvey Keene is furious.
I'm going to be gone now. I promise you that.
There's no way they're going to throw Harvey Keene out in the second inning of the first World Series game played in Milwaukee.
No, this is a play here that, by gosh, the manager, it gets you.
Harvey's kind of gazing up into the sky as if, I can't believe what you are telling me. Well, what he's telling him is that George Hendrick is going to be safely aboard at first, and Harvey Keene is now talking to Cecil Cooper as if to say, all right, Coop, what happened? What's your version of the play? As we said, on a high hopper up along third, evidently, Dave Phillips thought that it was ruled a foul ball. Just as Hendrick was coming down the line, Phillips threw his hands in the air as if to say no play. Meanwhile, the third base umpire, Jim Evans, had called it a play. Keene's going to lose the argument. Hendrick's going to be at first. Harvey throws his hands high in the air and goes walking back towards the dugout. He also gestures at the senior umpire in the American League, Bill Haller. Paul Molitor handling the ball right behind the bag, and it hit just inside the foul line. So it was certainly a fair ball, and it was indicated so. And then the throw to first, with Dave Phillips holding his arms high in the air, and they're going to rule it a base hit. So Hendrick is going to get a scratch single on a ground ball to third, and here is Darrell Porter. Porter with 4 hits in the series, batting .471 and takes a strike, 0-1. Darrell with 2 RBIs, and of course you remember there were a clutch double hit into left field against Don Sutton. But as Porter said after the game, I haven't hit a ball down the left field line in 3 years. The strike one pitch on the way is inside and high, 1-1. We might also give you an idea about Hendrick. He has stolen only 3 bases all year, been caught twice. So if they put a play on, it would only be hit and run. And they are certainly not playing Porter to pull Vukovic. Look where Gantner is. He's up the middle, where he never plays Porter in the first 2 games. The 1-1 pitch on the way is fouled away. Now, what would you get from that in seeing where Gantner is playing it?
I don't understand. You know, if you're going to play him with nobody on to pull, you still have to play him to pull more, even more so. With a man on first, your first baseman holding on, you have to play more to pull.
Remember the other night we were talking about we never saw a second baseman stand so close to the right field foul line when Porter was up. Would not now.
And now Jimmy Gantner's playing just as normal as he'd play any left-hander.
That's strange. And there's nothing that Vukovic does that would make him go the other way. He doesn't throw sinkers or anything like that. 1-2 the count to Darrell Porter. Left-hand hitter in a crouch at the plate. Open stance, however. Vukovic, a look at Hendrick, comes back to Porter, high and inside, ball 2. It would be very doubtful just to see Hendrick go on a straight steal. So Porter keeps looking at Chuck Hiller, who's coaching at third, and Hal Lanier over at first. No score. Top of the second inning, we've got a mild rhubarb here. Lonnie Smith out on deck. Vukovic out of a stretch. A backward glance at George Hendrick, and he's off the rubber. So he just makes Porter hang. Darrell, of course, formerly Milwaukee property. There's a lot of that going on. And among those coming here with a hatful of memories would be Coach Red Schoendienst of St. Louis. Throw to first, Hendrick back on the bag. So George Hendrick getting an infield single to start the second inning. It also started a little argument. And Darrell Porter is up there with the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Porter asking Kibler, I think, to look at the ball. And John goes out towards the mound. Nope, he doesn't look at the ball. He's just talking to Pete Vukovic. And Vukovic now slowly going back up on the mound. Big crowd, somewhere around 55,000, I would imagine. That's capacity here at County Stadium. A throw to first, Hendrick back to the bag. Lonnie Smith, and then you have Dane Ordge, the designated hitter. Hendrick off the bag, Cooper holding the corner, and again Vukovic off the rubber as Porter backed out. Now they finally hook up again, and Hendrick a short lead at first, and he doesn't increase it. The 2-2 pitch. Porter swings, nubs it back to the box. Down to get it is Vukovic to throw out Porter, and on the play, Hendrick advances to second. So Hendrick at second with 1 out, and Lonnie Smith coming up. Lonnie Smith was certainly a catalyst for the Cardinal attack all during the year. He was a pure offensive ball player. Defensively, he has quite a few questionable areas, but boy, with the bat, he knows what he's doing. However, he has been struggling ever since the month of September. He had a very poor September for St. Louis, and then coming into the series, he has 2 hits. So Lonnie Smith at the plate. Right-hand batter trying to pick up George Hendrick at second with 1 out. Vukovic delivers, and it's over for a strike on 1.
I noticed he's been taking an awful lot. And normally that's what happens when guys are in slumps. They start looking for too good a pitch, and they end up taking too many strikes.
So you tell him go up there and be a little more aggressive.
I'd play a little more hit and run with myself and get me to swing.
Lonnie hit .307 during the regular year. Right-hand batter waiting. And the strike 1 pitch on the way. Lonnie swings, ground ball to the lefty Yount. He's up with it near the bag to get Lonnie Smith. And George Hendrick moves over to third. The easy grace of a really true, good major league shortstop. The way they just make it look easy.
The good ones just go over, they set, come up, and throw that nice strike, and they make it, like you said, look so easy.
So with 2 down, George Hendrick is at third, and the batter is Dane Ordge. Now, Ordge is the fellow, if you were listening to us the other night. His last 2 years, he has hit over 400 with men in scoring position. So he's a tough hombre up there. And with 2 down and a runner at third, here is Dane Ordge. In the series, he's 1 for 2. Coming off the bench an awful lot during the year, he wound up hitting just under 300. Vukovic out of a windup and delivers, and there's a bouncer back to Vukovic. And he just lobs it to Cooper, and he's out of the jam. A base hit, a man left, and at the end of an inning and a half, no score.
WMAQ. If you're looking for car insurance that respects your family budget, check with State Farm. State Farm became a leader in car insurance by offering low rates and backing it up with great service. Now State Farm's a better buy than ever. Low rates, great service, and the fast, fair claims handling State Farm is famous for. For an outstanding value in car insurance, check with State Farm.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This fall from Motorcraft. Get up to $9.50 in refunds on some of the highest quality automotive products you can buy for any make of car. Save up to $4 on Motorcraft spark plugs and $1 on Motorcraft oil and air filters. Save $1.50 on 5 quarts of Motorcraft oil. Plus, get $2 in bonus refunds on qualifying purchases. See your Motorcraft retailer for details now through November 30th. Motorcraft automotive products from Ford for the future of your car, for sure.
Say, friends, if you're on the go this weekend, there's no need to miss baseball's main event. Why not take a radio along to keep up with all the World Series action? Wherever you're going to be, take us along, too. Sparky-Anderson, Win Elliott, and yours truly, Vin Scully. The 1982 World Series. Something special from CBS Radio. And a gentle reminder, Game 4 tomorrow, 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Game 5 on Sunday, 4:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Bottom of the second inning, no score in the ball game. The Cardinals got a break, but they couldn't cash it in, leaving George Hendrick at third. And now the Birds go on the defense, and here come the Brewers, with Ted Simmons, followed by Ben Oglivie, and then Gorman Thomas. And a message directed to Mrs. Marie Seelig. A big banner downstairs, "Get well, Mrs. Seelig," the mother of Bud Selig, the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, who unfortunately went to celebrate her son's finest hour in St. Louis and fell at Busch Stadium and suffered a broken hip. She was operated on and apparently doing well, and we certainly trust so. All right, second inning, no score. Ted Simmons, and it'll be interesting to see how right-hander Joaquin Andujar pitches Simmons, who has burned the Cardinals twice, hitting 3-1 fastballs out of sight.
I think, Vinny, they're going to get away from the fastball with him. I bet you any amount of money. Whitey says we've tried enough fastballs with him. Let's try something else.
Well, as we mentioned, to go back over Andujar, besides the fastball, he has a slider, and he has a good forkball, which he throws as a change. The change gave Simmons a bad time in the Bob Force game. Force got him twice with changes. So we'll see what they do with him now. Ted, switch hitter, batting left-handed. And into the bottom of the second inning we go. No score. Game 3. We mentioned before about the fact that the Brewers hit more home runs on the road than they did at home. The same thing for the Cardinals, but of course the Cardinals didn't hit many at all anyway. Joaquin Andujar delivers, and the first pitch over for a strike, 0-1. Simmons hitting .375 in the series, 3 hits, 2 of them for home runs, and 2 RBIs. Ted, who still makes his home in St. Louis, the strike 1 pitch, high and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Hansen and Warner on the lines. Harvey Keene piloting the ball club from the dugout. And Andujar, thinking over his pitches, now lifts his head and looks into Darrell Porter. The 1-1 pitch on the way is swung on and pulled foul, hooked in the lower deck, and we'll pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves.
It's Jimmy Pearsall after the game on 67 WMAQ Chicago.
So on the hour, as we're in the bottom of the second inning, no score. 1-2, the count to Ted Simmons. Simmons visiting with John Kibler, the plate umpire for the moment. Simba, as they called him in St. Louis, has long hair down to his shoulders, and they talked about him as Simba the Lion. The 1-2 pitch to Ted Simmons bounced in the dirt, kicked way off to the left. That got a little bit of John Kibler and Darrell Porter, and the count 2-2. Reminds me of Pete Mickelson, bless him, pitched in the big leagues. You knew Pete.
I remember him, yeah.
He told me once, he said, I made the perfect pitch. And I said, what was that? He said, I hit the batter, it got the catcher, and it also hit the umpire. Of course, you had to know
3 of them.
You had to know Pete Mickelson to understand that. 2-2, the count to Ted Simmons. Teddy waiting, kind of leveling that wood back and forth. And Andujar ready, and the 2-2 pitch is outside, fastball, but he got it up and out. 3-2. Ben Oglivie, who hit 16 of his 34 home runs here. Ben is in the on-deck circle. Now the 3-2 pitch is swung on and full foul outside of first and down the line. Still 3-2. There are no particular wrinkles or problems in the ground rules, I wouldn't imagine here. It looks like basically a very simple ballpark.
Very easy park to play, and it's padded, and so that when the ball does hit down the line, it doesn't circle you like it will in a lot of ballparks.
And there's the yellow piping atop the padding. If you hit that, would be a home run. 3-2, the count is Simmons. And here comes Andujar, and it's fouled away. Still 3-2. Andujar pitches like an Indian rubber man. He has a remarkable body.
He's got a great body. He's got one of those arms that just don't get sore on him. And going over to first base, he's as quick as you want to see going to first. But going home, it's funny, he's not very quick.
He's 6 feet tall, 180, but he looks bigger than that, especially through the chest. The right end already, and the 3-2 pitch on the way is hit off the end of the stick. A chopper back to Andujar. He just picks it off and guns it to Hernandez. 1 away. That'll bring up Ben Ogilvy. Ogilvy, 16 of his 34 home runs here at County Stadium. The left-hand hitting left fielder.
Then there's not another pitcher in baseball that follows through and is in perfect fielding position as Andujar. There's no other pitcher in baseball more perfect to take a picture of and to study for a young kid.
You know, he doesn't kick his leg like the other pitcher does, but he certainly reminds you the way he twists and turns of Juan Marichal. He has the same kind of body.
Absolutely, except when he ends up, he'll be dead facing you and both feet planted.
So here's Ogilvy hitting just 125 in the series. He takes a strike, and Andujar, perfect balance, staring in, which means pretty tough to bunt on, although I guess Milwaukee isn't going to bunt very much anyway. 0-1 the count. Ogilvy with Gorman Thomas on deck. 1 away, bottom of the second, no score. And Andujar into the windup, and the right-hander comes back, and the fastball is down and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. With a rubber arm and all that good technique, I would expect great things from this fella. He could probably be a 20-game winner.
I think he'll be a lot like Ruben Gomez, just pitch forever.
1-1 the count. Andujar ready, and back he comes, and it's swung on and missed. Hard slider down, almost in the dirt. 1-2 the count. I wonder if we're going to see Raleigh Fingers.
I don't believe we'll see him, Ben. I think they keep talking about Fingers, but I don't think they can even gamble with, next season coming on. This man's, he is really one of the big people in their franchise.
1-2 the count to Ben Ogilvy. The outfield very deep. Boy, in center field, Willie McGee is about as deep on Ogilvy as you'll see anybody. He swings, fouls it away off third. But, of course, considering the fact that the leadoff man almost hit it over the center field fence, you get the idea, well, if the leadoff man hits it that far, I better go back to the track here for the heavy duty. So Ogilvy up there, 1-2 the count. Ben with just 1 hit thus far, and he has scored a run. Andujar, deliberate, looking in to get a sign from Darrell Porter, and the 1-2 pitch is lined to right. Hendrick coming in and over, makes the catch for the out. A hanging line drive. That thing just seemed to stay at Hendrick's belt buckle. It was hit hard for the out, 2 down. That'll bring up Gorman Thomas. Gorman hitting just 143, so we mentioned that Milwaukee has done a pretty good job shutting down Keith Hernandez and George Hendrick thus far. And in looking back at Ogilvy and Thomas, they have been kept quiet. Thomas with just 1 hit in the series. Gorman had 19 home runs hit out here at County Stadium during the year. And Andujar on the rubber into the windup, and the right-handed delivers, and he's low. Ball 1, 1-0. Gorman Thomas had 39 home runs, so 19 here and 20 on the road. Of all the hitters in the Milwaukee lineup, who scares you the most?
All the hitters in their lineup?
Yeah. The 1-0 pitch to Thomas fouled away.
A whole bunch of them scare me.
Sure.
I think this year you'd have to go along with Yount. Yount, it seemed like every time they needed a big hit, needed a home run, needed an extra base hit, just a single, Robin Yount just had one of those years.
Yeah, and considering that .331 batting average, that's enough right there to figure it out. Infield swung way around to play Thomas to pull Tommy Herb up the middle, almost behind second base. The outfield deep and around to left, and Thomas swings, fouls it away, and the count 1-2.
Believe me, though, Vinny, there's no day at the beach with any of them.
Joaquin Andujar with no score, bottom of the second inning. Just 1 hit in the game, and that was disputed. The ball hit up along third base by George Hendrick. And 2 balls have been drilled by the Brewers for outs. The 1-2 pitch waved at and missed, strike 3, and down goes Gorman Thomas. And at the end of 2, no score.
After the game, it's Jimmy Pearsall on WMAQ.
like Michelin, who invite you to the grand opening of Central Tire's 4th location on Chicago's far south side. Along with savings up to 40% off on Michelin tires, Central Tire has a special World Series offer. The first 25 customers who buy a set of 4 Michelin tires at each Central Tire location receives a free Michelin winter jacket. Save up to 40% off on Michelin tires all this week at Central Tire. All tire purchases include free balancing and free mounting. Michelin, the quality radial tire designed to deliver long mileage and precise handling.
Central Tire has a price for you. Central Tire, there with follow through. We'll fit your car with the best deal in town. At Central Tire, we're always around. At Central Tire, we're always around. Central Tire.
Central Tire, with their newest Michelin location just off the Calumet Expressway on Doty at 115th Street.
WMAQ.
Next month, go exploring America with Charles Kuralt in a new special from CBS News all about America's railroads, past and present. Enjoy a ride on the rails with Charles Kuralt and Exploring America next month on most of the CBS radio network stations. Hear it here. Remember the old days when you were on the train?
Oh, that's too far back for me, then. I'm just a young kid.
All right, we'll drop it.
I just look so old.
All right. To the third inning. No score in the ball game. The Cardinals have gotten one man aboard. Hendrick got an infield single, got to third, but they couldn't cash him in. And the Brewers have gone out in order the first 6. However, Molitor sent Willie McGee up against the center field fence, and Ben Oglivie hit a bullet right at George Hendrick in right field. Pete Vukovich tuning up to Ted Simmons. Cecil Cooper, Jim Gampner, Robin Yount, and Paul Molitor behind him in the infield. Ben Oglivie, Gorman Thomas, and Charlie Moore in the outfield.
Then wouldn't it be nice, though, if we could go back to all-day baseball games and trains? Oh, that'd be great again.
It really, one thing about the life in baseball in the day of the railroad train, you were much, much closer to the players on the team. You had your little roomettes, you ate in the dining car, you spent a lot of time sitting together, talking, playing cards. Today, in the age of the jet airplane, it's a single-file existence. On the bus, single file. On the plane, single file, etc.
I really believe that's the reason the younger player today doesn't understand the game as well.
They don't talk about it as much. Third inning, no score, and here comes Willie McGee. And Pete Vukovich delivers, and the slider on the inside corner for a strike, 0-1. McGee looking for his first hit of the series. He hasn't had but just a couple of at-bats, a total of 4. 0 for 4. McGee goes up after a breaking ball and grounds it to Yount, who picks it up and throws him out. You talk about sheer poetry. That is really lovely, just to watch him pick that ball up.
Just think, Vince, how would you like to be Harvey Keene? You look out, he's hitting .331, 29 home runs, 114 RBIs, scored about 100 and some run, and he also can pick it up.
Yeah. You send a Brinks truck for him every day to bring him to the ballpark. With one away, Ozzie Smith coming up, the switch-hitting shortstop, who is more dazzling, more eye-catching than Robin Yount, and certainly much more acrobatic. In fact, Robin Yount was full of high praise for Ozzie Smith, saying, "I've never seen anything like it." Ozzie takes a strike, 0-1. When Robin Yount is praising you about your fielding, you're something.
You're doing a pretty good job out there.
Ozzie looking for a hit, though batting 0, and takes a look at a strike, and the count 0-2.
I've always found out, though, Vinny, that people are really talented at something always are willing to praise other people.
Yeah, isn't that true? 0-2, the count to Ozzie Smith. Vukovich ready, Pete delivers, and he's high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One away, top of the third, base is empty. Time call. Bill Haller, the American League umpire on the right field foul line, is walking out into shallow right field, hollering to second base umpire Satch Davidson. And in turn, the message is being relayed all the way into the left field corner where Ben Oglivie is gesturing. I don't know whether there's a light on or something, but it was spotted by the right field foul line umpire and then the left fielder. So it had something to do with the left field corner just inside the foul pole. Whatever it was has been removed, and we continue. 1-2 the count to Ozzie Smith. 1 out in the third, no score. Pete Vukovich delivers, and Ozzie, it's a ground ball to Robin Yount. Big hop for Robin, and that's that for Ozzie Smith. 2 down. That'll bring up Tommy Hurd. The Cardinals hitting a lot of balls on the ground outside of a pop fly to short and one fly ball to left field. Is that indicative of, in any way, of Vukovic?
He'll usually throw up a lot of ground balls, Benny. The only thing is, usually he'll be behind so many hitters, and he was only behind her, really, 3 and 2.
Well, here's Tommy now coming up for his second at-bat. He chased a possible ball 4 in the first inning when he popped it short. Her, a switch hitter, batting left-handed. Vukovic a change, and he just missed outside with it, ball 1. Paul Molitor playing one step up inside the bag at third, and the outfield, well, they pinch the middle. They give her the line. Now the 1-0 pitch to Tom is swung on and fouled off third, out of play. Back into the lower deck, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Mid-America, the scene for the World Series. St. Louis and Milwaukee. 2 down here in the third. No score in the ball game. Ken Oberkfell on deck, and Pete Vukovic delivers, and that's fouled away off to the left upstairs, rattling around on the facade, and then drops down below. 1-2, the count to Tommy Herr. County Stadium, a very uncomplicated ballpark. 2 levels, big, vast parking area, and you just walk in and take a ramp. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Herr checks his swing and rolls it to the hole on the right side. Gantner goes back to get it and throws him out. And at the end of 2.5 innings, no score.
WMAQ.
Prestone would like to take you on a journey into an inferno, into a world of screaming pistons, exploding gases, temperatures topping 4,000 degrees, into the world where your radiator works, cooling the blast furnace you call a car engine. It's murder. The hotter today's cars run, the easier all that heat makes it for rust and corrosion to build up in your cooling system. Without Prestone protection, you could be heading for trouble after just 10,000 miles of driving on weak, neglected antifreeze. Trouble such as boilovers, burned valves, even a cracked cylinder head could happen to you if the rust builds up enough. So protect your radiator. Drain it every year. And put in fresh Prestone 2 with patented silicone silicate. Prestone 2 fights rust. Deep inside, trust Prestone.
At Buick, we believe that a car that gives you more miles from the gas tank doesn't have to give you less of anything else. That's the philosophy that makes our Skylark quite possibly the best disguised economy car in America. Striking good looks, a stylish, comfortable interior with generous room for 5 are combined with a remarkable 27 EPA estimated MPG. Use estimated MPG for comparison. Actual mileage may be different. Buick Skylark, economy beautifully disguised.
Bottom of the third inning, no score in the ball game. It'll be Roy Howell, a designated hitter, left-hand batter, followed by Charlie Moore, and then Jim Gantner. And Duhar's retired 6 in a row, and the only base hit in the game, a squib single for George Hendrick, and disputed at that up along third base. What were you wigwagging to John Kibler about, Spark?
You know what? That's kind of funny because I'm always arguing with umpires whether I was in National American League, and most of the time I was wrong. And that's the first time I ever looked down at an umpire and gave him the high sign that, hey, everything's perfect so far. He started laughing. He said, man, something's got to be wrong if he's telling me that.
There's Sparky-Anderson complimenting the plate umpire. Well, we go to the bottom of the third. Roy Howell will be coming up. You were, what did I say, a little surprised that Howell was going to be the DH again tonight?
I thought possibly, the 5th game of the playoffs against the California Angels, they switched and went to money. And since they came home in this ballpark and the wind blowing out a little bit, I thought possibly they might go to money.
Well, you had reason to think that way because Howell 0 for 6 as the designated hitter. So Howell, left-hand batter waiting, and Duhar ready, buzzes a fastball, hit off the end of the stick to short. Here comes Ozzie Smith to get him. Boy, we're looking at a couple of dandies.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show with these two guys.
1 away in the third inning. And the batter will be Charlie Moore, the right fielder, the converted catcher. Moore has hit in 7 straight. He hit in all 5 league championship series games against the California Angels, and he has hit in each of the first 2 World Series games.
Vinny, I seen Larry Heisel on TV last night, and they were talking to him, and I really felt bad because here's a guy that was just a great baseball player, and just think if he was playing on this Milwaukee club.
Oh, one man's misfortune, and Charlie Moore now hitting .444 in the World Series, and Moore takes down and away, ball 1, 1-0. He doesn't look like a catcher. In fact, he moves around. If you had never seen him before, you might think he was an infielder.
I think that you're right. He does everything. I think he probably could play the infield, then.
He's quick. The 1-0 pitch to Charlie Moore. Down and away, ball 2. 2-0. Charlie with 4 hits and an RBI, and he has a look now at Harry Warner in the third base coaching box. He hit .254 during the regular year. Not much power. He had a half a dozen home runs. So Andujar has retired 7 in a row. 2 of them were hard outs, if you weren't with us. Molitor sent McGee to the center field fence, 402 feet away. And Ogilvy lined out to right. Charlie takes high, ball 3. And the crowd begins to make a little noise now, anticipating that the Brewers will get their first base runner of the evening. Andujar standing behind the rubber for the moment. Remember we told you about when he pitches, if his right knee begins to flare open, he struggles with his control. And he just kind of made a little gesture as if to say to remind himself to keep that knee in. The 3-0 pitch, a fastball low, ball 4. Gives up the walk with 1 out, and Jim Gantner the batter. Gantner is 2 for 7, hitting .286. Would you worry about a hit and run with this combination?
Yes, they will hit and run with Moore and Gantner, and especially Andujar. Going to first, as I said, he's extremely quick, but going to the plate, he's a high leg kicker.
So Andujar, right foot on the rubber, looks into Darrell Porter. Charlie Moore taking his lead at first, and Gantner, the left-hand hitter, asking for time, and it's granted. Charlie Moore, during the regular year, you won't believe this, he stole 2 bases and he was caught 10 times. So Moore standing at first. Now John Kibler comes out from behind the plate, walking halfway out to the mound. Perhaps he had called time, and he was trying to explain to Andujar that time had been out. Jim Gantner had backed out of the box. Keith Hernandez comes over to talk to Andujar briefly. Oh, and John Kibler is mentioning now what happened. Andujar, without thinking, went to his mouth. And that makes it a 1-ball and no strike count. And Andujar sheepishly grinning and shaking his head, as if saying, oh, no. But he did. You bring your pitching hand up to your mouth while you're on the mound, and they put a ball up on the count. So it's 1-0 without him throwing a pitch. And now the pitch to Gantner, and that's a strike. A high strike up around the letters, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Andujar got Howell, walked Charlie Moore on 4 pitches, and now he's 1-1 to Jim Gantner. Joaquin again out of a stretch and goes to first. Moore back to the bag, and Hernandez on his left knee to handle a throw. No score. Game 3 of the World Series from County Stadium in Milwaukee. And a lovely evening. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Gantner takes high. Ball 2. 2-1. Andujar averaged a little less than 4 walks a game. He is anything but a wild man. 2-1, the count of Jim Gantner. And on deck, Paul Molitor, the third baseman. Andujar at the belt, ready, comes to his hitter, and there's a line drive, base hit into right field. Hendrick has to go way back to pick it up. So going into third is Moore, and going into second is Gantner with a double. Jim Gantner pulled a double into right field. It wasn't that he pulled it down the line, but they were giving him straightaway right field. And by the time Hendrick went back to get it, Charlie Moore was into third, and Gantner, diving in head first, had himself a double. So second and third and 1 out, and Paul Molitor the batter. And now this crowd at County Stadium comes alive. The infield is back, and Molitor followed by Robin Yount. Andujar will pitch out of a stretch. The right-hander ready and delivers, and Molitor takes low. Ball 1. 1-0. 1 ball, no strike. Charlie Moore down the line from third. Jim Gantner away from second. No score in the third, but the Brewers are awfully close. Molitor working that brackish brown bat back and forth. Now quiets it. The 1-0 pitch. Ball takes low. Ball 2. 2-0. So it all started after Howell grounded to short. And Duhar walked Charlie Moore. And on a 1-1 pitch, Jim Gantner doubled to right. Now he's behind 2-0 to Molitor. Molitor 7 for 12 in the series. So we'll see if they let him swing 2-0. And Duhar deals half swing foul off to the right of the plate. Hard slider down. Molitor tried to hold up and got a piece of it, fouled it off. 2-1 to Paul. He has 1 RBI in the series, and he has scored twice. Molitor looking at third base coach Harry Warner. Molitor during the regular year had 5 scoring fly balls. He's not a particular long fly ball hitter. Here's the 2-1 pitch on the way. Molitor takes down and away. Ball 3. And so now Andujar either gets Molitor or perhaps looks at Robin Yount with the bases loaded. 3-1. They count to Paul Molitor. They let him swing 2-0. I guess the chances are very good they let him swing 3-1.
And they better throw him a breaking ball here, because they throw him a fastball. He's going to hit it hard.
The 3-1 pitch to Molitor is swung on and popped foul off to the right of the plate. Darrell Porter coming over. He can't get it. The VIP seats have jutted out just enough, I believe, to take that away from Porter. He might have been able to lean over during the regular season.
In the regular season, I think he'd have been able to lean over with his arms stretched out and been able to make that play then.
If the fans let him.
They'd have probably beat him to death.
Yeah, right. All right, 3-2, the count to Paul Molitor. Jim Gantner standing on the bag at second. Charlie Moore on the bag at third. And Charlie Moore gesturing to Paul Molitor as if they take it easy. Don't press. Molitor, good numbers. He's picked guys up from third almost 60% of the time with less than 2 outs this year. Fouls another pitch away, and it's still 3-2.
And Andujar made a great pitch there. Sidearm and reached out and got the ball right on the outside part of the plate.
And Molitor still able to get a piece and chip it away foul. Molitor had over 660 at-bats, so you know he's up there hacking. 3-2. And Duhar ready. Sidearmer got him swinging. Boy, down and away as he came by way of third. So Paul Molitor strikes out. And with 2 down and first base open, Robin Yount the batter. Yount, the right-hand hitting shortstop, and a brilliant one at that. Robin 0 for 1. He hit a fly ball to George Hendrick in the first inning. Cardinal infield remains back. And Duhar gesturing to Ken Oberkfell at third. Oberkfell a normal depth. The same for Ozzie Smith, Tommy Herr, and Keith Hernandez. So Robin Yount, who hit .331 during the year, up there and takes a strike in the count 0-1. Joaquin Andujar from the Dominican Republic. He's a long way from home. No score in the third inning. The Brewers with runners at second and third, but he struck out Molitor for his second strikeout of the night. Now the strike 1 pitch to Robin Yount. Sidearm down and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. So with a fastball, a slider, a forkball, a sidearmer, he can also come over the top. He twists and turns. He really gives his body a workout out there in the mound, not to mention what he does to the hitter. Yount waiting 1-1. Joaquin into the windup, and he's coming over the top, and a fastball grounded to her. Tommy picks it up and throws him out. Boy, that ball was traveling to the second baseman.
It gets there quick. In fact, to me, this infield's as quick as AstroTurf.
Ooh, it's like a dance floor. They lead 2, and at the end of 3, no score.
WMAQ.
This goes for you, for being on the job and working hard all day. So here's to you. You know there's no one else who does it quite the way you do. For all you do
Okay, you called to play TV Mystery Face.
Yes, we did.
For $1 million, turn on your TV and identify today's TV Mystery Face.
Right. Doris, who is it?
Oh, the TV's on the fritz.
It's some guy named Fritz.
Call us when you get a Quasar.
And enough of that old TV. Get in front of a new Quasar. Incredible pictures, some sets with 134 channels, ready for cable and stereo. Nobody offers you more than Quasar. For quality and dependability, shouldn't you have a Quasar?
We have 3 innings in at County Stadium. No score in the ball game. I'm Vin Scully, along with Sparky-Anderson, the manager of the Detroit Tigers. Pete Vukovich tuning up. And it'll be the second time around for Ken Oberkfell, followed by Keith Hernandez, and then George Hendrick. Sparky, how much does a good hitter learn after one at-bat? Does he learn much at all?
I think so. He learns the movement, like you said, the finger pressures the pitcher's using, this ball sailing or sinking. I know Pete Rose, he used to always, when he didn't know a pitcher, go up there and most of the time take 2 strikes because he wanted to see exactly what that ball was doing, and all the good hitters do that.
You know what Pete Rose told me? He said that when he's had his first at-bat, he always cleans his bats after a game, first of all. He said, I always clean the bat, so I start the game with a clean bat.
He's been pretty successful. Another thing he once said, he can see halfway up to the plate when the guy, if it's a curveball or a fastball, by the spin, he sees a red dot. I always wondered, the red dot, I said, no wonder I couldn't hit. I never seen nothing.
Red dot. 0-1 to count to Ken Oberkfell, and the pitch outside 1-1. Just to clarify and sharpen that point, however, a baseball naturally has seams. When you throw a fastball, you see those seams and their colors. The pitch to Tommy Herr is low, and the count 2-1. So you see more or less an awful lot of color coming up. If a guy throws a breaking ball, you're going to see a lot of the white of the baseball. That's pop foul off third, and Molitor is going to have a play going through the coaching box, and that will do it for Ken Oberkfell, leading off the 4th inning. I can remember in Vero Beach 30-some-odd years ago, Branch Rickey had a ball that was almost like a gyroscope, and he would have the kid hitters sit there and spin so you could see the seams, or spin it cockeyed so you can see the white, and maybe George Sparky-Anderson did it down there in Vero.
I did it, but I never caught on to it. You know, Branch never was able to help me.
1 away. Keith Hernandez grounded out in the 1st inning. He rolled one to the second baseman. He fouls it upstairs, and the count 0-1. We have moment because Vukovich is a very slow-working pitcher. There are a lot of gaps in this ball game, so like 2 fans sitting in the stands, we have a chance to exchange comments. Vukovich reading Ted Simmons. Now Pete ready into the windup, and the strike 1 pitch, and that's hit in the air down the left field line, slicing on Ogleby, going foul and drops untouched. Hernandez is going to have to check that bat. I think I heard it. Yeah, I think I heard it. I'm almost sure. Now, the bat boys picked it up, so I could be wrong this time. 0-2 the count. Here's what I was going to talk to you about. I have had pitchers tell me that if they have never seen a hitter before, they watch his swing. If they can see the knob of the bat, he's a low ball hitter. And if they can't see the knob, if that top hand is heavy, then he's a high ball hitter.
Absolutely, no question. And if they're that good and that alert, I didn't know that many pitchers. I never found pitchers to be that alert, though.
0-2 the count to Keith Hernandez. Pete Vukovich ready, delivers, and Keith takes high. Ball 1-2. We got 1 out here in the 4th inning, and nothing much going on right now. No score. The Brewers had a shot in the 3rd inning. With 1 out, Charlie Moore walked, and Jim Gantner doubled him to 3rd, but Molitor struck out, and Yount grounded out. Hernandez hits another one down the left field line. Ogleby coming in a hurry to the line, makes the catch in foul ground. Fine play by Ben Ogleby. So Hernandez fouling out down the left field line.
Then I haven't seen Hernandez now in, almost 4 years, and he has all of a sudden started to hit a lot of balls to left field and left center. I always remember he pulled the ball very good.
Oh, yeah, very much a pull hitter. I don't know whether he has seen so many pitches away this year that he's trying to go the other way and just go with the pitches, but you're right. He doesn't pull nearly as much. Here's George Hendrick at the infield single and takes a strike, and the count 0-1. No balls and 1 strike to George. We've got 2 down, top of the 4th, no score. Vukovic ready, and the strike 1 pitch on the way. Flipped a little low and outside. 1-1. Boy, Vukovic's a big man.
Big, strong man, and he doesn't get tired easy. He can work in hot weather.
The 1-1 pitch on the way. Hendrick takes down and away. Ball 2. 2-1. Hendrick hitting 125. He has just 1 hit, and that was that little nubber in the 2nd inning. He has 1 hit and 8 at-bats in the series. The 2-1 pitch to George. Low again. Ball 3. 3-1 to Hendrick with 2 out and Darrell Porter on deck. Chances are he'll be ripping at it if it's anywhere around the plate if he likes the location. 3-1 to Hendrick. Vukovic into the windup, and the 3-1 pitch. George takes ball 4, down and away. So the 2-out walk to Hendrick will bring up Porter, who hit back to the box in the 2nd inning. Darrell has hit in 5 straight, counting the championship series. And we're watching now. Now look where Gantner's going.
Now he's going dead over in the hole.
Well, now he's gone over the hole. Now he's kind of gesturing to Robin Yount.
Now he walked back over, and he's almost playing him straight away now.
Yeah, he's back on the rim, and Hendrick takes his lead. Throw to first, not in time. Hendrick back on. So Darrell Porter, the batter, with Hendrick at first held on by Cecil Cooper. 2 out, 4th inning, no score. Pete Vukovic on the rubber and out of a stretch. Pete, a backward glance, now comes to his hitter, and Porter takes it a bouncer in the dirt in front of the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. George Hendrick and Darrell Porter looking at Chuck Hiller, coach at third, so we'll see if they put a play on. As we mentioned, however, Hendrick is not a base stealer. Vukovic turns it back on home plate, just gazing out towards center field for the moment. Atop the bleachers in center field is a little extra Milwaukee flavor we tell you about. Here's the 1-0 pitch instead of throw to first. There is a big beer barrel and a beer mug at the bottom of it, and then what looks like straws going from the beer mug to a little house up atop. And they tell me there's somebody up in that house. 1 ball and no strikes to Darrell Porter. Vukovic, kind of a high set, now drops it to the belt. There goes the runner. The pitch is a strike, and Hendrick is out from me to you.
Simmons got off a real good throw. There's no question about it. A good, strong throw.
Well, we told you Hendrick doesn't run, and that's why. He's out from here to Chicago, 2-6. And at the end of 3.5 innings, no score.
WMAQ. We're here asking some secretaries and typists to name the typewriter they prefer most. Their answers?
IBM. IBM.
IBM. And their reasons.
I just love my IBM Correcting Selectric 3. It lifts my typing errors clean off the page in seconds. It makes me look perfect, even when I'm not.
IBM.
IBM.
I type statistics, so I've got an IBM Electronic 50. It automatically aligns numbers in columns, and it always remembers to put the decimal point in the right place.
IBM.
IBM. I get my share of repetitive typing, so I have the IBM Electronic 75. It has a memory that can store and automatically retype whatever I type in. Now when I have something to retype, the typewriter types it, not yours truly.
Get the typewriter that's preferred most.
IBM.
Call 1-800-631-5582. 1-800-631-5582.
In today's driving game, there are certain penalties for owning a status car, like the expense of buying it and maintaining it. But this year, we have a sensible solution. The Honda Accord LX hatchback, with an elegant interior and standard features like variable assist, power steering, and air conditioning for luxury you can afford, even if status isn't the last thing on your mind.
Special greeting from all of us at CBS Radio to those of you around the world listening to the World Series on Armed Forces Radio. A comparison of the first 3 innings between the two pitchers. Nothing startling, but Pete Vukovic, who normally, and the word is, pitches behind the hitters, has only been behind the 3 of 10 batters and has made 10 fewer pitches than Andujar. Vukovic, 36 pitches. What that translates into, if he kept going, he would make 108 pitches. And Duhar, 46 pitches, That would come out to about 138, which would be a little high. Do you count pitches? Do you have Roger Craig keep tabs?
We count pitches right on our bench. The pitcher is pitching the following night. We'll keep the pitches. I want to know the pitches because we know all our pitchers. We know just about where they're running out of gas normally, especially after you've had them a year or two.
Bottom of the fourth inning. No score in the ball game. Cecil Cooper, followed by Ted Simmons and then Ben Oglevie. The Cardinals have not done a thing with Vukovich. And the Brewers have hit a couple of shots against Andujar, but they've still come up empty. And the first pitch to Coop is in there for a strike on 1. Cecil, left-hand hitting first baseman, grounded out. He's 0 for 1. Andujar up on top, both feet on the rubber, checking with Darrell Porter. Now Joaquin ready, and the strike 1 pitch is over the top and a breaking ball down and in, 1-1. Joaquin Andujar and Darrell Porter, an infield of Keith Hernandez and Tommy Herr, Ozzie Smith and Ken Oberkfell, Lonnie Smith, Willie McGee, and George Hendrick in the outfield. Now the 1-1 pitch to Cecil Cooper, high, ball 2, 2-1. Brewers had a big break in the third inning with 1 out Charlie Moore walk, and Jim Gantner doubled him to third. But Molitor struck out on a 3-2 pitch, and then Robin Yount grounded out to end the inning. The 2-1 pitch coming up. Andujar's fastball is lined to center, but McGee goes back on the ball, reaches up as it starts to take off, and backhands it.
But he glides so easy on the ball, Ben. He's just an excellent outfielder.
And every time he makes a play, George Steinbrenner and people in the Yankee front office have to shake their head.
Well, you have to wonder. Now, here's a kid that was at Nashville in Double-A baseball, and the following year is in the big leagues on the club is playing in the World Series. Somebody knew something.
And how? Ted Simmons hit back to the box in the second inning. Simmons 0 for 1. And Andujar checking with Darrell Porter, walking into the windup. Right-hander's first pitch is a fastball lifted to right field, but Hendrick's going to have plenty of room. He's still on the grass to make the catch. And it's amazing how the people, they've seen a lot of baseball games, but they were up on their feet as if he was going to hit that thing in the lake.
Yeah, well, here, every time these guys swing, they think it's going. They've hit so many home runs.
Force of habit. 2 down in the fourth inning, and Ben Oglevie, the batter. By the way, in talking about home runs, we were talking about the beer barrel and the glass of beer in the little house. They tell me that if a Brewer hits a home run, this man slides down the slide into the beer mug, and then balloons come up out of the beer mug as if it were bubbles from a beer. The pitch to Ben Oglevie is in for a strike. Have you ever seen that?
I'm sure I've seen it a whole bunch of times, Vinny, but I'll tell you the truth. When they hit one, I'm so mad I've never looked up.
I'm sure. 0-1 the count to Ben Oglevie. 2 out in the fourth inning, no score. Andujar over the top, and that's fouled away off to the left out of play, and the count 0-2. The Cardinals had one man get to third. Hendrick had an infield single. It was disputed, but he still got the base hit. And 2 infield outs, he was at third and stayed there as Dane Orge hit back to the box. The other Cardinal base runner was Hendrick, who walked with 2 out in the fourth inning and was thrown out by plenty. The only 2 Brewer base runners were last inning at second and third. Now the strike 2 pitch, and Oglevie hits it up along the first baseline foul, and it's still 0-2. And the crowd remembering the third inning and then going back a notch to the second inning. A couple of them grumbled over the ball that was hit by George Hendrick. Amazing how fans never forget.
Oh, they never forget. Believe me, they don't.
0-2 the count to Ben Oglevie. He's a busy hitter, is Oglevie. He's always moving around.
Moving around all the time and going to swing most of the time. Ben doesn't like too much for that base on balls.
He hit only .244 during the regular year, but he gives you a lot of sock, 34 home runs. Now the strike 2 pitch on the way. He takes down and away. Ball 1, 1-2. Oglevie, tall and stringy, the left fielder for Milwaukee. And the left-hand hitter kind of herky-jerk with the bat, back and forth, wiggles it, wobbles it, and then takes outside. Ball 2, 2-2. Remember when Lou Burdett pitched here for the Braves, and Fred Haney once described him, he would make coffee nervous. I'd like to see Lou Burdett pitching to twitchy Ben Oglevie. 2-2. Andujar into the windup, and Joaquin delivers and missed again. Ball 3.
He might throw one of them. Lou might throw one of them tonight, and it frees up on the way home.
Ice cube ball. 3-2 the count to Ben Oglevie. No score in the fourth inning. We've only had 1 hit on each side. An infield single for George Hendrick and a double to right for Jim Gantner. Joaquin looks down the barrel, picks off a sign, and the 3-2 pitch is a check swing. They're going to look at third. Swing, says Jim Evans, and down goes Ogilvy. And Ben was on his way to first base thinking it was ball 4. And at the end of 4, no score.
WMAQ. Mr. Balone?
Yes,
Pearl's party planning. We got your order for petunias, orchids, assorted violins.
That's assorted violets.
Oh. Hold the violins, fellas. Pearl has terrible handwriting.
Well, these flowers were for my wedding reception.
So?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Well, it's our delivery truck. Broke down. Just got to fix. Sign here, please.
Hey, don't you know about Jartran?
Sure. Hey, Ralph, got any more of those night-blooming Jartrans back there?
No. Jartran Truck Rental.
Oh.
It's a company that rents trucks and trailers and vans just the right size for your needs.
Where do you want these garden hoses?
I asked for roses, not hoses.
Boy, Pearl has terrible handwriting.
Well, she won't have a business if she doesn't find out about Jartran Truck Rental.
You know, Jartran makes sense in today's economy. We can rent trucks just for our busy season. That month when everybody gets married?
June.
No, Pearl. Pearl's party planning.
Brother.
Hey, what should I do with these musicians I brought over?
I didn't order musicians.
You sure did. Look right here, an assortment of jazzmen.
It's jasmine. It's a flower.
I gotta talk to Pearl about
For a limited time, any Jartran truck is just $29.90 a day for local rentals, Monday through Thursday. Restrictions apply, so ask for details.
You do get a sense of pride being reserved.
Army Reservist Karen Gorey.
You always have a sense of pride, I guess, because after going through basic, after going through your schooling, then getting back to your unit, and you're going, whew, I finally made it. I get a good feeling because I know I've done it. And no one on there can ever change that feeling.
If you'd like to earn a nice extra income 1 weekend a month, call your Army Reserve recruiter today.
'Cause we need you
Paid for by the Army Reserve.
in the Army Reserve.
We're going to the 5th inning here at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Not much of a breeze, not bad at all. The weatherman talking earlier today about how the temperature would dip into the 30s, but perhaps he meant in the wee small hours, because at 8:45 local time, it's a relatively comfortable evening. Pete Vukovich battling Joaquin Andujar. And for the Cardinals, it'll be Darrell Porter, who was left at the plate when George Hendrick was thrown out trying to steal. Porter followed by Lonnie Smith, and then Dane Orge. So the Brewers work the ball around the infield, and into the 5th inning we go. Porter, who's hit in 5 straight, so he's been swinging a hot bat, hit back to the box in the 2nd inning. Darrell 0 for 1. Pete Vukovich, who at one time toiled for the Cardinals, and of course the same story for Porter in Milwaukee. And they hook up, and Pete into the windup, and the right-hander's change is grounded foul outside of first and down the line. When you first see Vukovich, you think, there's a pitcher who doesn't get in his running.
Well, yeah, you would think he doesn't get his running. He does a lot of running.
But, you know, the shirt seems to be hanging out, and it makes him look almost fat.
You know, I think he does that on purpose.
I would think so. The strike one pitch on the way. Another change, and that's whack foul behind Hal Lanier coaching at first, and the count 0-2.
You know, if you notice, they wear a blue belt. And I really think old Vuki thinks that if he doesn't show you any of that blue belt, get as much white as he can, that he's tricking you.
Yeah, it looks like the front portion of his shirt has purposefully been pulled out to kind of hang over the belt. Anything to beat you. 0-2 the count. Darrell Porter, left-hand hitter in a crouch. Vukovich delivers low and inside. Check swing by Porter, and naturally the crowd is hollering, why didn't you call that a strike? 1-2. And they're waving a towel out of the Milwaukee dugout, and somebody down there doffed a cap at third base umpire Jim Evans. And Harvey Keene is hollering, I think, to Kibble, check at third. And Evans says, thank you very much, no swing. Harvey Keene throws both hands in the air at Evans. 1-2 the count to Darrell Porter. Vukovich into the windup, and the 1-2 pitch is low, ball 2, 2-2. Boy, he really got up on top of that thing.
Got up on top and trying to turn it over a little bit. He likes to get way up. He gets over the top, even in fact, close to his head.
2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Darrell Porter. Vukovich ready, delivers, and got him on the inside corner with a breaking ball, and now it's Porter's turn to be a little annoyed. He thought it was inside.
I think he turned, if you notice, he turned 2 pitches over on purpose with him, and then came back in with just a fastball that moved in, sailed. He threw that opposite, like you said, that pressure point.
I don't know how a man does it, but all the good ones can do it. getting pressure on, let's say, the index finger more than the middle finger one time, and then the middle finger more than the index finger another time, and then do all that and throw strikes and hold men on, and that's why they're in the big leagues. Here's Lonnie Smith, who grounded to short in the second inning, and the right-hand hitter takes a look at a pitch low, ball one, 1-0. Tell you one thing, Vukovich doesn't look like the Pete Vukovich I had been led to believe I was going to see a guy walking 3, striking out 3. The 1-0 pitch is low and outside, ball 2, 2-0. At least not so far.
Well, so far.
Yeah.
Vuki likes to get in trouble, and he likes to be behind, and tonight, so far, he hasn't been.
Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way to Lonnie Smith, and that swung on and whacked into left center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Ogilvy can't cut it off. It goes to the wall. Lonnie Smith goes to second, makes a turn, and holds there. So Lonnie Smith, a double up the alley in left center field. And with 1 out, the Cardinals now have a man in scoring position, only their second hit of the night. Lonnie Smith, in going down the line, stumbled, rounding first. He was still able to make second without a play. Probably, when they stumbled rounding first, he lost maybe a triple?
He lost a triple. That was a triple for Lonnie Smith right there, and that's why I was shocked. I picked up the ball, and I looked back, and I seen where he stumbled.
Right. So the second hit off Pete Vukovich, and Dane Orge coming up. He hit back to the box in the second inning. He might have stumbled because he was looking at the fielder.
And it's his first hit in a long time, too.
So the left-hand hitting Dane Orge trying to pick him up. And Vukovich will look back at Lonnie Smith, set at the belt, and delivers. In the first pitch, fastball strike, 0-1. Now, Orge, remember, is the fellow who has done so well with men in scoring position the last 2 years. He came up with a runner at third in the second inning and hit back to the box. Now he finds a runner at second with 1 out in the fifth. And no score. Dane waiting. Vukovich out of his stretch, looks back at Lonnie Smith. Now the right-hander works his hitter high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chuck Hiller out of the coaching box at third to shepherd Lonnie Smith. Al Lanier out of the coaching box at first. Are the umpires nailing you on that at all in the American League, making your coaches stay in the confines of the box?
Not bothering you unless that first base coach gets way down that right field line past first and looks in because he wants to get a shot at those catcher signs.
1-1 the count. Dane Orge, left-hand hitter, the designated hitter waiting. Pete Vukovich out of his stretch. A look back at second comes to Orge. Off speed. Ground ball wide at first. Knocked down by Cooper, and he can't pick it up in time. And everybody's safe. Lonnie Smith advancing to third, and Dane Orge safely aboard at first. It'll be an error charged to Cecil Cooper on a ball hit wide at first. Knocked it down, stepped on it. By the time he picked it up, there was no play. So Cecil Cooper committing an error, first and third with 1 out. And here is Willie McGee. McGee grounded to short in the third inning. The Cardinals trying to get on the scoreboard and break the scoreless tie here in the fifth inning. And the Brewers looking into the dugout for the moment, getting orders from the boss as to how to play the infield. With 1 out on McGee, who is tough to double up, and at the same time playing on AstroTurf, the ball gets to the infielders quickly enough to get him. In fact, you might be surprised. He hit into 9 double plays, and 7 of them as a left-handed hitter. So he can be doubled, even though he's very fast. Vukovich ready, delivers, and McGee hits a high fly ball into deep right field. Back goes Charlie Moore, away back. It's gone. Home run, Willie McGee. 3-0 in favor of the Cardinals. And it's met with almost stony silence here at County Stadium. So Willie McGee, who hit a home run in the championship series, now really puts the slug on Vukovich and gives the Cardinals a big 3-0 lead. And Ozzie Smith coming up. So this crowd somewhat in shock. The wrong team hit the home run. And the batter, Ozzie, runs up the bunt and fouls it away, 0-1.
I think everybody's in shock because it's McGee, but he showed in that playoff series that he can drive a ball.
Well, McGee, during the regular year, had only 4 home runs. Vukovich, in case you wonder, gave up 14 home runs. That's nothing compared to Mike Caldwell, who gave up 30. 0-1 the count to Ozzie Smith. So 3-0 St. Louis here in the 5th inning. Vukovich delivers, and there's a ground line foul going in and out of the seats behind the Cardinal dugout. Boy, that thing went in and out in a hurry, and the count 0-2. Here in the inning, with 1 out, Lonnie Smith doubled, Orge aboard on the error, and McGee a home run. The pitch high and inside. So, of course, the error by Cooper is big. It meant an additional run followed by the home run. 1-2 pitch coming up. And that's low to Ozzie Smith, ball 2.
What it does more than anything, Benny, it makes you pitch different. If you got 2 out and a man on third, you pitch totally different than you would first and third and 1 out.
So Vukovich touched up for the double, then the error and the home run. And the 2-2 pitch to Ozzie Smith is swung on, and a fly ball to center field. Going back for a moment was Gorman Thomas, but he comes in to pick it off. And for Ozzie Smith, of course, that's somewhat of a cardinal sin. Anytime, and I don't mean that as a pun, but anytime he hits the ball in the air, you want to say to him, hey, not in the air, not you.
If he goes to bat 500 times, at least 400 of them should be on the ground.
So 2 down here in the 5th inning. 3-0 Cardinals, and the batter is Tommy Herr, who popped a short and grounded out, 0-2. So Pete Vukovich, an 18-game winner, is roughed up a bit here in the 5th inning. Big guy into the windup now, and the first pitch to Tommy Herr, ground ball to the right side. Gantner plugs up the hole. That'll do it for Herr and the Cardinals, but they pick up 3 on 2 hits and an error. And at the end of 4 1/2, Cardinals 3, Milwaukee nothing.
I'm George Allen, back in Chicago to start my football career over again as owner and coach of Chicago Blitz in the new United States Football League. I have found creating a new professional team my biggest challenge. Chicago is a great city, and it was my home for 8 years. In '63, I helped bring a championship to this city. Now I intend to work longer and harder to bring another winner. We want the Blitz to be a team the people of Chicago can be proud of. Already we have signed 5 named players, including Greg Landry and Tim Reitman, an All-American. This is how we will build the Chicago Blitz, with a combination of veteran players and young stars. But as we build our team into a winner, we need your help. The football fans of Chicago. Our home will be Chicago's Soldier Field, and good midfield tickets are available. Just call 670-0100 or 670-USFL and place your order now.
WMAQ.
Friends, wherever you are election night, November 2nd, follow the results with CBS News on most of these stations. 2 reports each hour, plus net alert bulletins when results can't wait. Stay in touch with every development election night with CBS News. Hear it here. In the bottom of the 5th inning, the Cardinals sitting on top of a 3-0 lead, and Gorman Thomas, Roy Howell, and then Charlie Moore coming up. Among other things, in looking back at the top of the 5th inning, not only the error and the fact that Vukovich had to pitch differently, but Harvey Keene thinking he had a hitter struck out, and he did not get the strike call from Jim Evans on the third base foul line. And Dane Orge then hit the ground ball. It was kicked by Cooper, so that was quite an inning all in all, the top of the 5th. Gorman Thomas struck out in the 2nd inning. He's 0 for 1. Joaquin Andujar ready to go to work, but John Kibler isn't. He has to go behind the plate to retrieve a ball. John of the National League. And we should tell you a little bit about the umpires. After all, they have the responsibility of the entire series. John Kibler lives in Oceanside, California, and he is working his 3rd World Series. The first pitch to Gorman Thomas outside, ball 1. John is a real estate salesman during the off year. 1 ball and no strikes to count to Gorman Thomas. Gorman with 1 hit thus far in the series, hitting .125. He has 1 RBI. And Duhar reading Darrell Porter. Now the bare-armed right-hander comes back 1-0 and missed low and away, ball 2. Remember, his 1 bit of trouble in the 3rd inning. He walked Charlie Moore and then fell behind to Jim Gantner, who doubled Moore to 3rd. But he certainly righted the ship, going 3-2 to Molitor. He struck Molitor out and then got Robin Yount to ground out to end the inning. 2-0. The count to Gorman Thomas. The infield swung around to third. Herr playing up the middle at second base. And the 2-0 pitch is popped up, and it'll be Tommy Herr, the second baseman. Herr on the skin part of the infield now has to go back out on the grass and one-handed as a gust of wind started to blow it away. One down, and the batter is Roy Howell.
This is a big inning for Andujar right here, Ben, because they just put 3 runs on the board. If he can get through this inning and keep them shut out right here, it's just one inning closer to Suter for him.
In talking about Andujar, you might also point out that he had a big year pitching in winning his 15 games. Andujar with an earned run average of less than 2.5. And the first pitch to Howell outside, ball 1, 1-0. Andujar made 38 starts, actually 37, and completed 9 of them. Howell tries to hold up on a bad pitch, but he can't do it. And the count 1 ball, 1 strike. The Cardinals 3 runs, 3 hits. Howell is a fellow who did all of his hitting really on the road. There's a 70-point difference the way he hit on the road than the way he did at home. He hits a ground ball to third. Up with it there is Ken Oberkfell, over to first in time for the out. 2 down. Why would that be? Why in the world, when you're on the road and you get less batting practice, could a man hit 290 and then at home where he can come out early if he wants and hit 220?
I don't know, and especially in this ballpark, he says he's a ground ball type hitter. He doesn't hit with a lot of power, and you would think on this field you get a lot of base hits that go through because it is a fast infield.
Roy Howell must be the worst ad for home cooking in the league. With 2 out, here's Charlie Moore. He walked in the 3rd inning. Charlie, the right-hand hitting scrambling right fielder, the converted catcher. Slightly open stance, and Andujar comes to him with a fastball and a big chopper to Ozzie Smith, who cranks it up and throws to Hernandez, and that's it. And 8 in a row retired by Andujar, and at the end of 5, Cardinals 3, Milwaukee nothing.
WMAQ. If you want to compare real homeowners insurance values, check with State Farm. A comparison among companies shows that many homeowners can save with State Farm on the kind of coverage most people buy. With State Farm, you know you'll always get a good price, prompt personal service, and fast, fair claims handling. Now, chances are you can get an even better value on your homeowner's insurance. Check with State Farm.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
What's it like to own a Buick Riviera? Well, remember when you were maybe 9 or 10 and you'd get a chance to ride in the front seat of your dad's car with all those wonderful buttons and dials around you, and everything, including you, seemed larger than life? That's kind of what it's like. The Buick Riviera, a technologically advanced, marvelously equipped, incredibly handsome, luxurious road car with the almost magical ability to make otherwise rational, mature adults feel like kids again.
Hi, I'm Rick Mundy. Playing high school sports is a great experience for me, almost as great as that playoff home run in 1981. Today, there are millions of high school students enjoying the valuable experience of playing high school sports. But without your support, high school sports programs will stop. Don't let that happen. Invest in America's greatest resource, our youth. Support your local high school sports programs, the other half of education. Baseball cares.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
We're going to the 6th inning at County Stadium in Milwaukee. 3-0 Cardinals. Let's pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves.
It's Jimmy Pearsall after the game on 67 WMAQ Chicago.
Here in County Stadium, the bullpens are alongside each other back of right center field. An interesting study. 2 fellas talking about the old days, I think, when they were teammates in Oakland, Raleigh Fingers and Gene Tennis. But in the 6th inning, Ken Oberkfell flied to left and fouled out. Oberkfell 0 for 2. Now the strike 1 pitch on the way high, 1-1. Of course, Tennis and Fingers were also teammates in San Diego. And now they wind up on opposite sides of the fence in the bullpen in the World Series. The 1-1 pitch to Oberkfell. He backs off, and that's high, ball 2. When the Brewers come up in the bottom of the 6th, they'll have Jim Gampner, Paul Molitor, and Robin Yount. The 2-1 pitch is lifted back a shortstop. Yount going out on the grass. He has it all the way and makes the catch for the out. So Oberkfell pops to short, 1 away. And the batter will be Keith Hernandez. Hernandez grounded out and fouled out. He's 0 for 2. Keith not hitting yet at all in this series. He is 0 for 9. I remember one World Series, Gil Hodges playing at first base for Brooklyn went something like 0 for 21.
It's an amazing thing. I remember Perez had won about 4 games in the 75 series out of hit, and we kept kidding. We said, please break the record. He said, Skipper, he says, you cruel.
Vukovich ready and delivers, and Hernandez takes on the corner for a strike. And then for Hodges on the biggest game that the Brooklyn Dodgers ever played when they won the World Series, the final game 2-0, Gil drove in both runs. The strike one pitch to Hernandez, ground ball to the right side. Gantner almost caught between hops, but he makes the play on the grass. Boy, that thing can eat you up.
It's quick. It's a very quick infield, Benny. And by the way, Perez, he broke out of it with 2 straight home runs.
With 2 down in the 6th inning, George Hendrick had an infield single and walk, 1 for 1. That was the year when Hodges drew the blanks in the World Series, where a priest in Brooklyn on Sunday gave his sermon from the pulpit, finished, and said, say a prayer for Gil Hodges. You're really going good when you have him praying for you in church. George Hendrick up there now, and he has a look at a strike. Little slider on the outside corner. 0-1 to George. On deck, Darrell Porter. Cardinals 3, Milwaukee nothing, 6th inning on a 3-run home run by Willie McGee. The pitch to Hendrick, a strike, 0-2. McGee apparently is going to be one of those players. I mean, he just doesn't play a game. When he does something, it's electrifying. The strike 2 pitch. Hendrick takes ball 1.
And he's one of those, Ben, it seems like you go in the World Series and you hear all the big names, and then the one that you weren't even talking about does all the excitement.
Yep. Here's the 1-2 pitch to George Hendrick. Vukovich delivers, breaking ball down and away, ball 2. 2-2. Two out, top of the 6th inning. If you weren't with us in the 5th inning, Porter struck out. Lonnie Smith doubled. It was a triple, but he fell down at first base, so he could only stop at second. Dane Orge was aboard on an error, and then McGee homered. Ground ball wide of third. In fact, Yount goes in the hole to throw out Hendrick. They're gone in order are the Birds, and at the end of 5.5, St. Louis 3, Milwaukee nothing.
WMAQ.
At Anheuser-Busch, we gave our brewmasters this challenge. Brew a light beer worthy of the king of beers. One with a clean, distinctive taste. Budweiser Light lives up to the challenge.
Bring out your best. Bring out your best. Bring out your best.
They brewed this beer with the best ingredients and with Beechwood aging made famous by the king. You'll taste the best in Budweiser Light.
Bring out your best. Budweiser Light. Bring out your best. Budweiser Light.
To brew Budweiser Light, our brewmasters knew it would take time, patience, and skill. They knew the best never comes easy. That's why there's nothing else like it.
Budweiser Light.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
This fall from Motorcraft. Get up to $9.50 in refunds on some of the highest quality automotive products you can buy for any make of car. Save up to $4 on Motorcraft spark plugs and $1 on Motorcraft oil and air filters. Save $1.50 on 5 quarts of Motorcraft oil. Plus, get $2 in bonus refunds on qualifying purchases. See your Motorcraft retailer for details now through November 30th. Motorcraft automotive products from Ford for the future of your car, for sure.
We're going to the bottom of the 6th inning here at County Stadium in Milwaukee. I'm Vin Scully, along with Sparky-Anderson, the manager of the Detroit Tigers. And Joaquin Andujar has allowed just the double to Jim Gantner in the 3rd inning. Vukovich allowed an infield single to Hendrick, a double to Lonnie Smith, and then the 3-run home run to Willie McGee. And that's the story. Also, Andujar, who was so tough near the end of the year, to give you an idea, Andujar, in his last 6 starts, had an earned run average of less than 1 in 6 games. Now he comes into this game, and he has the hard-hitting Milwaukee Brewers blanked for 5 innings. The paid attendance, 56,556. 56,556. And all of them, it would seem, hollering for the Brewers to get going. And it'll be Jim Gantner, the left-hand hitting second baseman, to start it off. And Duhar reading Darrell Porter. Oberkfell even with the bag at third. And Gantner, a line drive base hit to right field. Hendrick has to go back and get it. And Gantner will hold on with a single.
Exactly the same place. I mean, I'll make you bet that ball didn't hit an inch apart from the first ball he hit.
So now, with the leadoff man getting aboard, the crowd comes alive with Molitor and Yount to follow. So Gantner is 2 for 2 against Andujar. He has the only 2 hits for the Brewers. A line double to right and now a line single to right. Molitor sent McGee to the fence 402 feet away for his blast in the first inning. And then last time up, struck out. Andujar, right foot on the rubber, and Molitor waiting as the crowd begins a chant. Andujar quick over to first base, but jumping back on the bag is Gantner. Gantner during the regular season was 6 out of 9 in stolen bases. But remember, they're down by 3. Andujar ready and comes to the plate, and there's a bunt by Molitor up along third, foul, and you can bet Andujar was there to clean it off. An excellent fielding pitcher. So Molitor, trying to bunt for a base hit, will come back and try it again. 0-1, the count to Paul Molitor. He has 7 hits in the series, hitting well over 500. The Cardinals 3 runs, 3 hits. Milwaukee, no runs, 2 hits, and 1 error. Gantner at first, held on by Keith Hernandez in the outfield deep and around the left. And Duhar, right foot on, checking Porter. Now has a look over at Gantner. And the strike 1 pitch on the way is in there. Strike 2. 0-2. And Duhar has such a flourish in coming to the plate out of his stretch. You can see where a good, knowledgeable base runner who sees a lot of them would exploit that flourish.
Good base stealer like Ricky Henderson over at Oakland. He'd steal him blind.
0-2 the count. And Duhar set and delivers low. 1-2. What happens is he brings his hand set at the belt, and then all of a sudden it's as if he's leading an orchestra. He doesn't just come from the belt, but they start to come up and make a big bow out there.
And the funny part of it is he's sitting in the same position when he goes to first, and he goes over there so quick.
1-2 the count. And Duhar ready and comes to his hitter, and Molitor, a fly ball to straightaway center to McGee. Willie, under it now, makes the catch for the out, and back to first goes Jim Gantner. That'll bring up Robin Yount. Yount flied to right in the first inning, grounded hard to Tommy Herr, last time up in the third. The Brewers have had 1 shot at Andujar. They had second and third and 1 out in the third inning. The count went to 3-2 on Paul Molitor, and he struck out, and then Yount rolled out, and that was that. So Robin Yount, the brilliant shortstop for Milwaukee, right-hand batter, waiting. And Duhar at the belt comes to his hitter, and is a ground ball to the right side. Big hop for her. Over to Ozzie Smith. Back to Keith Hernandez. Double play. And the Brewers are gone in the 6th. And at the end of 6, Cardinals 3, Brewers nothing.
WMAQ.
I just had this fancy radio put in my Honda. But recently, I saw a Honda Civic hatchback that had a whole band in it. A young couple owned the Honda, and inside it, along with them, I counted 11 different musical instruments. Guitars, fiddles, banjos, even a washboard. They played folk music and were touring. So I said, do you have enough room in that Civic of yours? They said, yep. Well, do you know Honda makes other Civics? Yep. Have you seen the Honda Civic 4-door sedan? Yep. It has a trunk, I said. Yep. Then how about a Honda Civic wagon? It has all the room you could want and rises comfortably as a passenger car. Yep. Then they went on to say they were expanding their band and would probably get a Civic wagon. I smiled and said, I guess you folks could call it a bandwagon. Nope.
We make it simple.
Spiffy apartment, Larry.
Well, I'm a today kind of guy.
I guess.
What say I spin a little wax?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Tiffany?
Yes, Larry?
It's your eyes. They're so...
Larry?
Yes, Tiffany.
It's your stereo.
Huh?
Call me when you get a Quasar.
Larry needs the Quasar sound stack. High-performance stereo systems selected and matched for you. Some including the linear tracking turntable to assure accurate sound reproduction. For quality and dependability, shouldn't you have a Quasar?
We're going to the 7th inning here at County Stadium in Milwaukee with the Cardinals leading the Brewers 3-0. I don't know how much interest it is unless we explore the subject. Pete Vukovich in 6 innings has made 79 pitches. So that would translate, let's see, about 13 pitches times 9 would be 117 pitches for a game. So the question is not to bore people with a lot of numbers. Do you remember the fewest number of pitches you ever saw a pitcher make in a game?
Was Wayne Simpson against the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1970, I believe, if I'm correct. Wayne threw 81 pitches. I don't believe he ever, in his lifetime, ever got into the 7th again without throwing 81. But he threw 81 pitches in Dodger Stadium. It was just an unbelievable ball game.
I remember, I think it was Preacher Rowe, served in a game, and he broke 80. He had either 78 or 79 pitches, if you can imagine such a thing.
I always say that 120 and below is a very good game. When you get over 120, I think you're starting to put a little bit of strain on a pitcher.
All right, let's see about a strain on the pitcher. Pete Vukovich is down 3-0 as we go to the 7th inning, and it'll be Darrell Porter, followed by Lonnie Smith, and then Dane Orge. Darrell Porter hit back to the box and struck out. He's 0 for 2. Cooper is deep and near the line. Gantner on the rim and in the hole, and the pitch is inside. Ball 1-1-0. So you have Porter, Lonnie Smith, and Orge, and the big boys will be coming up for Milwaukee in the 7th inning. Vukovich over the top, but he missed with it. Ball 2-0. When Milwaukee bats in the 7th, if you're not keeping score, they'll have Cecil Cooper, Ted Simmons, and Ben Oglevie. And number 4 man in the inning, Gorman Thomas. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way. Porter swings, pops it up. Going out to get it is Robin Yount, turning now and has picked it off and made the catch for the out. There was no way he could have gotten much help from Gorman Thomas because with a left-hand hitter up, Thomas way over in right center. Oglevie was pretty deep, but Robin was able to go back and pick it off. Lonnie Smith is the batter. Lonnie grounded a short and then hit one up the alley. In the 5th inning, might have been a triple, but he fell down and had to settle for a double. Vukovich into the windup. Pete Reddy delivers, and there's a slicing drive into right center. That's going to be trouble, and nobody there. It goes to the wall, and this time Lonnie's flying. He's around second, on his way to third. The relay is in there, gets by third into the Cardinal dugout, and Lonnie Smith scores. And they'll have to give, I guess, Jim Gantner the throwing error, but that's a tough break.
Like you said, Benny, we were talking earlier today before the ball game. If Lonnie Smith starts to hit, the Cardinals will really start to move, and I think we've seen it here now. Both times that he's doubled up the alley, there was a triple and the double before. They put 4 runs on the board.
So Lonnie Smith going in head first at third. Gantner threw the ball from the grass in shallow right center. And it was one of those things Molitor couldn't get to the throw because of the diving, sliding Lonnie Smith. And I assume they're going to give Gantner the error. Meanwhile, Orge hits a ground foul outside of first and cracks his bat, and it's 4-0 St. Louis. We mentioned that there is E4, so the error will be on Gantner. There are 3 official scorers. Jack Herman of the St. Louis Globe-Democrat, Dave Nightingale of the Sporting News, and Dick Young of the New York Post. And I'm sure it's a case of majority ruling. There wasn't very much to rule on that, however. There wasn't very much else you could do with it, explaining why Lonnie Smith scored, except that Gantner's throw got away and went all the way into the Cardinal dugout. So 4-0 in favor of the Cardinals. And Pete Vukovich into the windup, and the strike 1 pitch is lifted into left center field, but it's high enough for Gorman Thomas to get there, and he's there to handle it. 2 out. It is not just the 4-0 lead, but it is the inning. You are now in Suter country once you get into the 7th inning. If Andujar can get him out in the 7th, I think as far as Whitey Herzog is considered, he has done his job.
Oh, my goodness. If he gets him through the 7th, they'll go back with him in the 8th, but they know then that they do have Suter country.
Well, here's Willie McGee, and of course he has the big swing of the night. McGee takes it to hands, ball 1. He had grounded out leading off in the 3rd, but with runners at first and third and 1 out in the 5th, he hit it in the bleachers in right field. McGee hits another drive to right field, and that might go. It's gone. Home run McGee, his second of the game, and it is 5-0 St. Louis. And they're in shock here at County Stadium.
They're in shock, but old Willie makes it look like there's nothing to it.
So Willie McGee, with 2 home runs, has 4 RBIs. He's quite a favorite on the Cardinal Ball Club. They're all over him as he goes in the dugout. So Pete Vukovich can't get McGee, and he can't get Lonnie Smith. And Ozzie Smith pops it up, and Robin Yount going out to handle it, and does. But at the end of 6.5, St. Louis 5, Milwaukee nothing.
WMAQ.
For you.
Be sure to keep your dial set to CBS and wake up to a complete summary of sports. Monday through Friday, Jim Kelly starts your day with the Sports World Roundup. Saturday and Sunday, Bill Schweitzer has the scores on Sports Time. Hear him here on CBS Radio. And also remember to hear Games 4 and 5 of the World Series this weekend. Tomorrow's CBS coverage at 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday at 4:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Take me out to the ball game. The crowd not very happy, but they're trying to polish up their spirits with the visiting Cardinals leading 5-0. Of course, turnabout is fair play. Game 1 of the World Series, Milwaukee went into St. Louis and flattened their beer 10-0. And now the Cardinals are trying to return the favor in the first game in Milwaukee tonight.
And I think Whitey Herzog said it after the first game, and people don't understand. He said that's one game. This is one game tonight. This series is going to be a great series, Benny, because there's 2 real good ball clubs.
Well, we're going to go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and if the Brewers figure to make some noise, you would certainly expect some noise this inning. Cecil Cooper, followed by Ted Simmons and then Ben Ogilvy. They do not have a hit amongst them. In fact, Cooper, Simmons, Ogilvy, and Thomas have all drawn blanks. The only 2 hits belong to Jim Gantner, a double to right in the 3rd inning, a single to right in the 6th inning. Willie McGee tonight had a 3-run home run in the 5th inning and a home run in the 7th inning. And needless to say, he's a rookie. Well, he ties a record for home runs by a rookie. Tony Kubek did it in 1957 against the Milwaukee Braves, when Tony, of course, was a rookie with the New York Yankees. And, ironically, Tony is here broadcasting the game tonight. Cecil Cooper grounded out, fly to center, 0 for 2. Left-hand hitter, open stance, and a hungry hitter right now, and he fouls the first pitch away, 0-1. Cooper is 3 for 11 in the series. 1 extra base hit, he has a double, and 1 run batted in. 0-1 to Cecil Cooper. Well, we were talking at the very start of the game about the consistency of these 2 teams, and that there really isn't much of a home field advantage. The Cardinals with the identical record, home and away. The strike 1 pitch to Cooper, that's fouled away, 0-2. And for the Brewers, only the difference of 1 game at home and on the road. So the Brewers went into St. Louis and demolished them 10-0, and now the Cardinals leading 5-0 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Duhar working on Cooper with Ted Simmons on deck. Joaquin keeping the ball up and in on Cooper on those 2 fouls. Joaquin nods yes into the windup, and the strike 2 pitch is a high fly ball into left center field. Backing over, however, is the ever-present Mr. Willie McGee.
Willie's everywhere tonight. He's playing great in center field, and he's swinging the bat. Like I said, I never believed he had that kind of power, Benny.
No, in the limited time that we saw him during the regular year, there was no indication he had that kind of power. And his numbers tell you he had 4 home runs, 2 left-handed. So he hit as many in this game tonight left-handed as he had the entire season. And those things happen. Here's Ted Simmons, hit back to the box and flied to right, hitting left-handed, and Duhar misses low, ball 1. The last time he had 2 home runs in a game, Willie Mays Aikens of Kansas City, October 18th, 1980, in Kansas City in Game 4 versus Philadelphia. But as they say on Broadway, how'd you come out? And the pitch is swung on and missed. 1-1. One and one, the count to Ted Simmons. And Duhar into the windup. Joaquin's 1-1 pitch, a check swing, and the ball hit foul up along third. Down to get it is Oberkfell. And the count 1-2. Simmons 0 for 2 tonight, though he is 5 for 10 in the series. On deck, Gorman Thomas. Ben Oglivie, then Gorman Thomas. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals. 4 of the 5 hits have been extra bases. 2 home runs by McGee, a double and a triple by Lonnie Smith. The 1-2 pitch, Simmons hits one back off Andujar's leg, and he's riding on the grass in pain, and Ted Simmons is at first, and Andujar, I would have to say, has had it. What a rotten break. Andujar is hit, I believe, on the right leg, and he is riding in pain on the grass just to the right of the mound. Pitching an absolute gem. He is hit on the leg, and now, of course, you have to worry not only about pitching the game, but the series and serious injury.
The St. Louis doctor, Vin, has just even come out of the stands.
And Duhar got it flush on the leg. The ball wound up in foul territory between third and home. And Andujar went down, twisting and turning and writhing in pain. He's on his back right now. And only time will tell. They're going to have to move around in the Cardinal bullpen. And Andujar being examined by Dr. Stan London, the team physician. But what a shot he took off the right leg.
Right
and
off
just
the knee.
about off
right
the
off
right
the kneecap. That's what I'm afraid of, Benny. I hope in any way that kneecap isn't hurt.
Boy, he went down as if he was shot. And so Joaquin Andujar pitching a brilliant 2-hitter through 6 1/3 innings. And now they are gesturing to the Cardinal bullpen, you might as well come in and warm up on the mound. There's no reason to be down there and do it. Jeff Lottie got up, and Jeff Lottie, the right-hander, will be coming in, I think. And Jim Cott is down there as well, so let's see. You have Ben Oglivie, a left-hand batter. So in a moment, we'll see who's coming out. But we do know Andujar is not on his feet. He's been assisted so that he is standing on one foot. But that right leg, bent at the kneecap, cannot support any weight at all. And the poor guy is really in agony. He has his arms wrapped around a couple of teammates who will help him up. They have to pick him up, and when they pick him up, he just bites his teeth together, and his eyeballs rolling up towards the heavens, and he is in terrible pain. Jim Cott is going to come running in. He was up there with Jeff Lottie, but they told Cott, you come in and pitch. And there goes Andujar. So we're going to have a little bit of time because Cott, replacing an injured pitcher, can be given as much time. And you know who really looked distressed? Hub Kittle. Hub Kittle was a teacher to Andujar in the Dominican Republic many, many, many years ago. In fact, they go back so far together that Andujar calls Hub Kittle, his coach, Daddy and Papa. I mean, they really go back, and Kittle just walked back as if his son had just been hit by a car.
Well, and Hub cares so much about all his pitchers, but he's been able to get so much out of Andujar, and I don't think tonight, I was just about ready to say before Simmons had come up to the plate, Ben, that this is the best pitch game we've seen, and as far as just consistent overpowering people, he's had people where they haven't hit the ball hard off him at all.
And you know what? You know what's really a bitter note of irony? What were we talking about at the start of the game about Andujar? The perfect follow-through, in perfect position to feel the ball hit back at him, remember?
And if he wouldn't have followed through so perfect, his knee wouldn't have been there. But you have to do that, and he does it so good, and there he was, and that's why he got hit dead on the knee.
Well, while Jim Cott is warming up, let's pause for this.
Hey, aren't you?
Bob Newhart.
Bob, what's happening, Bob? What's new?
Well, I've got a new show on CBS TV this fall.
Great, Bob. When? What network?
I play a writer who buys a historic inn in Vermont.
Swell. What's it about?
About a half an hour.
Bob, now you stay right here. I gotta get Stan. He's not gonna believe it's you. Hey, Stan, come here. Look who's here. It's Bob Newhart.
Hi.
Are you really Bob Newhart?
Yeah.
Well, you sure look alike.
Premieres Monday, October 25th at 9:30, 8:30 Central and Mountain, right after MASH on CBS TV.
CBS Radio sports coverage is second to none. Each weekday morning, Jim Kelly's here to open the sports day for you. In the evening, Brent Musburger keeps you up to date, and Kurt Gowdy brings you his commentary. Weekends, it's Bill Schweitzer in the slot with all the hot news in the AM. Then Win Elliott has Sports Central USA. Weekend evenings, it's Jim Hunter and Howard David rounding out the picture. Top sports coverage, it's yours every day on the CBS Radio Network.
We're at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Jim Cott has had to come in and relieve a fallen hero. Joaquin Andujar hit a shot off the right kneecap coming off the bat of Ted Simmons, and time will be out until Jim Cott says he's ready. He can just keep warming up as long as he wishes. In seeing Andujar go down in agony, there have been some terrifying moments for pitchers standing only 60 feet away, and of course by the time they stride, they're maybe 57 feet away. You remember some?
Oh, I remember the Herb Score incident. I wasn't there, but I remember when he got hit, you know.
Gil McDougall hit the line drive and it hit Herb Score in the eye.
You know, there's been so many, and it's really a dangerous thing. You're always scared about it. I know in the spring we make them at the beginning pitch with the screen up. A lot of people disagree with that, but I say this, until they've been along in the spring enough to get their reactions back again after laying off in the winter, I won't let them throw without a screen up there.
You know, one of the changes, it would seem, over the years in baseball is the fact that starting pitchers rarely, in fact, if ever, pitch batting practice anymore.
Not anymore, Ben. I think that you can get so much more done truthfully. I know Roger Craig, our pitching coach, he believes it. I know Larry Shepard at Cincinnati, he believed that you get so much more work in the bullpen when they can stand there and really work on a particular pitch between starts.
Well, Jim Cott says he is ready, and as soon as we get any report at all on Joaquin Andujar, why, naturally we'll pass it along. Hit on the right kneecap, apparently, by a shot off the bat of Ted Simmons. So Simmons is at first with one out, and Ben Oglivie, the batter, lined out to right and struck out, and Jim Cott out of a stretch. The veteran left-hander, a side armor, in there for a strike, 0-1. Down in the Cincinnati bullpen, and the Cardinal bullpen is former Cincinnati right-hander Doug Bear. Cott straightens up, has a look over at first, and the left-hander spins a little flat curve outside. In looking through the books to realize how Detroit. 1-2 the count to Ben Oglivie. Cott delivers outside, one-handed by Darrell Porter, and the count 2-2. So a terrible break as far as the Cardinals are concerned, and we'll see now whether Milwaukee can go after the replacement. Cott at the belt, and Jim's 2-2 pitch is a fastball over, strike three called. Oglivie caught guessing and caught looking, and down he goes. Andujar allowed 3 hits and 1 walk. He struck out 3, and he worked 6 1/3 innings. Did not allow a run, and had to leave. Gorman Thomas, following Ben Oglivie, Thomas struck out and popped up. So Cott comes in to get a man, and Gorman Thomas trying to keep it going. They're not holding Ted Simmons. Hernandez wide of the bag, almost directly behind the runner, and they load up the left side of the infield. And the pitch to Thomas is strike. You just about have 3 men between second and third.
The thing I like about Hernandez, Ben, watch where he's going. He's going almost over dead in the hole at second base, and that's where the great first basemen do.
0-1 the count. There goes Hernandez. The pitch to Gorman Thomas. He holds up on a low breaking ball, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Gorman Thomas hitting 111 in the series. He has just 1 hit, 1 run batted in. Thomas' hit was a single to shortstop in the first inning of the first game. He takes way inside. He has to jump out of the way. Ball 2. 2-1. Simmons at first. 2 out. Bottom of the 7th. Cardinals 5. Milwaukee nothing. Game 3 of this 1982 World Series. Cott, both hands on his knees, looking into Darrell Porter. Hernandez behind Simmons, and then a break to the hole. He's the only man between first and second. Thomas fouls it back. Tommy Herz on the other side to join Ozzie Smith and also Ken Oberkfell. Do you do that in Detroit? Do you load up on Gorman Thomas?
No, we play Gorman. I would say our second baseman really plays him to pull, but we don't ever go on the other side with him.
2-2 to Gorman. Thomas, right-hand hitter, back up to the plate. Jim Cott, 43 years old, second oldest in history to pitch in the World Series. And the 2-2 pitch, fastball down and away, ball 3.
Let me say this, though, Vinny. I think the Cardinals might be right. We were 3-10 with Milwaukee, so what we were doing, we could reverse, and we've had that better off.
So if we see Detroit loading up next year, you know why. 3-2 to Gorman Thomas. And the crowd now coming alive. Roy Howell, a designated hitter, on deck. The 3-2 pitch. Cott delivers. Runner goes. Line drive in the left field. Base hit. Up with it, stumbling, and then getting back on his feet is Lonnie Smith. And holding at second base is Ted Simmons. Well, Lonnie is slipping and sliding on the base paths and in the outfield.
A little slippery out there tonight. And, you know, Whitey Herzog really showed me something there. He let Cott with a 5-run lead go ahead and pitch to Gorman Thomas. He had Howell coming up next. Sure enough, here comes Whitey. Now they're going to send money up, but Whitey's going back in, I think, because he's just going to wait. Well, I guess they've already announced that money was going to hit for Howell.
So Don Money will hit for the designated hitter. And, of course, for Roy Howell, as the designated hitter, he has been thoroughly frustrated. He is 0 for 8. Down in the bullpen, you have Doug Bear and Bruce Sutter. And let's see, well, they leading 5-0, they can afford to bring Bear in, because the way Bear figures in the Cardinal plan, he pitches the lengthy period late in the game to try and save the wear and tear on Sutter. So, of course, a lot of the Cardinal fortunes rely on Bear. And in Game 2, Bear worked in the 5th inning and then worked in the 6th into the 7th, and then finally they went to Sutter. And leading 5-0, and with 2 out, Doug Bear will be called in from the Cardinal bullpen, and while Doug Bear gets the mound and will be warming up, let's pause for this.
WMAQ. For 80 years, Buick has had a love affair with the automobile, right down to today's state-of-the-art Century. With its very efficient form, it offers an EPA estimated MPG of 24. Use estimated MPG for comparisons. Actual mileage may be different. And in the best Buick tradition, Century has a remarkably luxurious passenger environment. 80 years of Buick went into the 83 Century. You see, Buick's love affair with the automobile isn't getting older. It's getting better.
He's at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10.
Miss it? You don't have to. You can strike too. Go bowling. Bowling, where strikes mean action, and the action doesn't quit. So get out now, bring the whole gang, and show them all how much fun a strike can be. Go bowling. Lanes are available right now. National Bowling Council, Washington, D.C.
Well, here at County Stadium, first Joaquin Andujar knocked to the deck. Now the Milwaukee Brewers trying to get off the floor. Simmons standing at second, Thomas standing at first with 2 out. Don Money will be the batter against Doug Bear. So let's match them up, Sparky. Don Money, of course, played in Philadelphia in the National League before coming over here, and you had Bear. How do you like the matchup?
I like Bear because Bear right now looks like the other day over in St. Louis. He's throwing the ball extremely well. He's got a real good breaking ball. Don hasn't seen him for a while. I think Doug is a very, very tough man to hit, especially when you haven't seen him before.
Don Money, who will be coming up to bat for Roy Howell, has had 2 at-bats, and he is 1 for 2. The preliminary report on Joaquin Andujar. He was struck on the lower portion of the right kneecap. The St. Louis doctor reports that Andujar is in stable condition, and he will be taken to Mount Sinai Hospital for x-rays as a precautionary measure. That's all we know about Andujar. Of course, watching him writhe in pain on the ground, you have to worry about whether he could ever pitch the rest of this World Series.
I would have to say, they'll ice him down and all that, but I would have to think, Benny, it'd be awful tough for him to rebound in 4 or 5 days to even be able to pitch the 7th game.
For Don Money, in his 10th straight year with the Milwaukee Brewers, the DH that National League people look upon with such scorn, you might be interested to know that in this DH World Series, Milwaukee DHs are 1 for 10, and the Cardinal DHs are 1 for 8.
That's fine, Benny, but let me tell you, over the course of the season, when DH has got 27 home runs per ball club and 100 RBIs, the pitchers won't do that.
All right, Doug Bear out of a stretch delivers, and Don Money takes high, ball 1, and the Brewer stock gets a little higher now. And Darrell Porter out to the mound to talk to Doug Bear.
Ben, Whitey Herzog does a tremendous job with this Cardinal pitching staff. When you look at the way he uses Cott, here's a man that's been pitching for primarily since the beginning of the century. He is still getting good performances out of Jimmy Cott. He's getting great performances out of Doug Bear, and then, of course, he's got the closer and Suter. But Whitey handles it so perfect. He's spreading it out. He's putting the right people in the right spot at all times.
Don Money is batting for Roy Howell, who had grounded to short and grounded to third. Bear plants the right foot, looks in to get a sign, and Money waiting. Now Bear out of a stretch. You look at the runners. The 1-0 pitch. Money takes very high. Ball 2. The only other time in the game thus far tonight. Milwaukee had 2 runners on base, would be in the 3rd inning, when Moore walked with 1 out and Gantner doubled him to 3rd. That was their only rally. However, Molitor struck out and Yount grounded out. But now here in the 7th, they have 2 on and 2 out. Cardinals 5, Milwaukee nothing. Doug Bear out of a stretch. Another look at Simmons, and the 2-0 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, 2-1. With Dave LaPointe, the left-hander, working for the Cardinals tomorrow in Game 4, Don Money certainly will be the DH. And you were even guessing he almost would have been the DH against Andujar.
I really thought because of the way this wind's blowing out.
2-1, the count to Don Money. The pitch to him is down and away, ball 3. Money, during the year, had 16 home runs and 55 runs batted in. He hit .284. So Bear has come to a moment of truth. Bruce Sutter has been throwing back of him. And with 2 on, 2 out, a 3-1 pitch to Don Money. Bear deals, and it's fouled away. 3-2. So a slight advantage now for the Brewer runners, Ted Simmons and Gorman Thomas, and certainly Simmons, a catcher who's been playing as long as he has, can use the advantage of being on the go on the pitch. 5-0 St. Louis, and the Brewers trying to get off the floor. Bear out of a stretch, checks the runners. The runners go, and the pitch is ball 4 to load him up for Charlie Moore. And here comes Whitey, and I would guess Bruce Sutter is coming in. Remember, it all started on that shot off the bat of Ted Simmons that got Joaquin Andujar on the kneecap.
Then I like the way Whitey did that. He come out of the dugout, he got to the gravel, and before he even reached the grass on this side of the line, 40 feet from the line, he already waved, give me that guy out there, I want Mr. Sutter.
You know the most memorable manager I ever saw as far as making a pitching change?
Roger Hornsby.
Exactly.
Have to be from the dugout.
Roger,
you come in and you go.
Roger Hornsby never left the dugout. He would sit in the dugout, and all he would do is whistle. And the pitcher would hear that whistle and walk off the mound.
And Billy, I'll be truthful with you. I have thought of this many times. The way they boo me over the years, I've thought, why don't I come up with that? Because then they never can get me. The pitcher will always think it's him that's getting booed.
You know, one time Cincinnati was in Ebbets Field, and the bases were loaded. And all of a sudden, and the pitcher walked off. the difference was Don Hoke was going to be the hitter, right-hand hitting third baseman. But where did the pitcher come from to pitch to Hoke with the bases loaded? Off the bench. Frank Smith was sitting next to Roger. He hadn't even warmed up. He whistled the starting pitcher out, and now Frank Smith goes from the dugout to the mound with the bases loaded to take 8 warm-up. Well, Hoke wants to kill him. He thinks he's trying to show me up. Hoke hit a grand slam home run.
Oh, goodness.
The most memorable thing I ever saw. Well, I know it's no big deal right now, and while Bruce Sutter is warming up, let's pause for this.
WMAQ. Mr. Malone?
Yes, but...
Pearl's party planning. We got your order for petunias, orchids, assorted violins.
That's assorted violets.
Oh. Hold the violins, fellas. Pearl has terrible handwriting.
Well, these flowers were for my wedding reception.
So?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Well, it's our delivery truck. Broke down. Just got to fix. Sign here, please.
Hey, don't you know about Jartran?
Sure. Hey, Ralph, got any more of those night-blooming Jartrans back there?
No. Jartran Truck Rental.
Oh.
It's a company that rents trucks and trailers and vans, just the right size for your needs.
Where do you want these garden hoses?
I asked for roses, not hoses.
Boy, Pearl has terrible handwriting.
Well, she won't have a business if she doesn't find out about Jartran Truck Rental.
You know, Jartran makes sense in today's economy. We can rent trucks just for our busy season. That month when everybody gets married?
June.
No, Pearl. Pearl's party planning.
Brother.
Hey, what should I do with these musicians I brought over?
I didn't order musicians.
You sure did. Look right here, an assortment of jazzmen.
That's jasmine. It's a flower.
I gotta talk to Pearl about
For a limited time, any Jartran truck is just $29.90 a day for local rentals, Monday through Thursday. Restrictions apply, so ask for details.
All right, bottom of the 7th inning. Bruce Sutter has had his warm-up tosses. He is talking for the moment to Satch Davidson about going to his mouth off the mound. And that's what he just did. He blew on his pitching hand and now gets up on top of the mound. Charlie Moore is 4 for 10 in the World Series. He has walked and grounded out tonight. He has hit in 7 straight games. The Championship Series and the 2 World Series. And now 55,000 people are on their feet and screaming. And Moore pops the first pitch in the air foul. Coming over is Oberkfell to the Cardinal dugout. He backhands it. Ken Oberkfell doing a high wire act on the top step of the Cardinal dugout. Backhanded the foul ball, and that's that. The Brewers lead 3, and at the end of 7, the Cardinals 5, Milwaukee nothing.
After the game, it's Jimmy Pearsall on WMAQ.
Central Tire keeps you on the road. Central Tire has brand names you know.
Like Michelin, who invites you to the grand opening of Central Tire's 4th and newest Chicago location on Chicago's South Side. Along with savings up to 40% off on Michelin tires at all 4 Central Tire locations, Central Tire has a special World Series offer. The first 25 customers who buy a set of 4 Michelin tires at any Central Tire location receives a free Michelin winter jacket. Save up to 40% on Michelin tires all this week during Central Tire's grand opening. All tires purchased include free mounting and free balancing. Visa and MasterCharge accepted. Central Tire now with 4 Chicagoland locations, including 18th in Indiana, Cottage Grove near Cermak, Roosevelt Road near Austin, in Cicero, and their newest Michelin location just off Calumet Expressway on Doty between 115th and 130th Street exits. For more details, see Central Tire's ad in Thursday's Sun Times.
Central Tire. We're always around. Central Tire.
WMAQ.
At the end of 7 innings, it's still 5-0 Cardinals as Bruce Sutter came in with the bases loaded and got Charlie Moore to foul out on a fine defensive play by Ken Oberkfell. 4 pitchers used tonight, and Duhar, who went out with injury, then Jim Cott, Doug Bear, and Bruce Sutter. Whitey Herzog has now used 11 pitchers in 2 games plus. As far as the Brewers are concerned, remember Caldwell went on the way, and they have only used 5. The key with Bruce Sutter will be counting his pitches. We mentioned that the other night, that the Cardinals feel if he can do the job in 30 or less pitches, he can then come back the next day. And, of course, in this compressed time, this World Series, tonight, tomorrow afternoon, and Sunday afternoon, it will be critical for Sutter to do that job in 30 or less.
I don't know no better way to do it than come in with a base on throw 1.
1 pitch. Yeah, except pick somebody off. Don't forget, 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, and then Sunday, 4:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Tommy Herr will start it off. Herr will be followed by Ken Oberkfell and then Keith Hernandez. 5-0 in favor of the St. Louis Cardinals. And the big story, 2 home runs by Willie McGee, one with 2 aboard. Pete Vukovich into the windup, and the pitch to Tommy Herr. He looks at it all the way, and it's in there for a strike, 0-1. Vukovich touched up for 3 in the 5th inning and 2 more in the 7th. The big right-hander ready, and the strike 1 pitch on the way, very high and inside, 1-1. Cardinals getting the maximum out of the minimum, 5 runs, 5 hits. The 1-1 pitch to Tommy Herr is taken outside, ball 2, 2-1. Herr hitting just 111 in the series. He was 1 for 6 and 0 for 3 tonight. He grounds one to the right of Gantner, and then the ball takes a tricky hop, but Gantner stays with it to get him. Oh, that's brutal. You're going to your right, and then suddenly the ball cuts to your left.
Yeah, he's an outstanding fielder, though, Benny, there's no question, but he's got great range, too. People don't realize that Gantner goes as well to his right and his left, which is unusual. Usually an infielder will go one way or the other better, but he's got great range.
Ken Oberkfell flied to left, fouled out, and popped up. But he has made a tremendous contribution with the glove, making a dazzling backhand catch of the foul ball right on the steps of the Cardinal dugout. He takes inside, ball 1, 1-0. Vukovich comes back to him, working in a hurry now, and the pitch is popped up, back is short, into shallow left field. Going out is Yount, but Ogilvy comes in, and Ben makes the catch for the out. 2 down. When the Brewers come up in the bottom of the 8th inning, they have Jim Gantner, then Paul Molitor, and Robin Yount. Keith Hernandez looking for that first hit. He's 0 for 3 today and 0 for 10 this year. The first pitch missing inside, ball 1, 1-0. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way is a shot, a one-hopper flagged by Robin Yount. Does a 360 and throws him out. So Hernandez robbed of his first hit in the series by Robin Yount. And at the end of 7.5, Cardinals 5, Milwaukee nothing.
WMAQ. Delco Electronics presents the car radio of the future, the ETR. What do you think of the ETR, sir?
Well, it's supposed to be a pretty nice movie for the whole family.
No.
The kids really seem to love the little creature.
You've apparently confused some movie or another with Delco Electronics ETR, which stands for Electronically Tuned Receiver.
Oh.
You've confused sci-fi with hi-fi, sir.
You mean you're not referring to any alien...
Well, if you're buying a new car, you want the latest in sound systems, not an alien object.
No,
you want a sound system that's up to the technology of the car.
You mean like the ETR?
That's right, packed with technology. Electronically locks in a radio station precisely.
Huh.
Since Delco Electronics built the electric drive system for the lunar rover the astronauts drove on the moon, they ought to be able to deal with your car radio.
I suppose. How can I check out this ETR?
For a closer encounter of the best kind...
I was afraid you were going to say something like that.
Drop into any GM dealer for a demonstration.
I enlisted when I was a junior in high school.
1 weekend a month, high school senior Brett Campbell is a heavy equipment operator in the Army Reserve.
I just basically learned how to operate heavy construction equipment such as dozers and a backhoe. And it's something good to learn because you've got a trade behind you.
If you're in high school and want to start learning a job skill 1 weekend a month, the place is your local Army Reserve Center. For details, call your Army Reserve recruiter listed in the Yellow Pages. Paid for by the Army Reserve.
Bottom of the 8th inning at County Stadium. Vin Scully along with Sparky-Anderson, the manager of the Detroit Tigers, and the pitch a strike to Jim Gantner leading off. Gantner double to right and single to right against Andujar, but he's growling at John Kibler. He thought the pitch was outside. 0-1. Hope burns eternal, of course, even when you have a Bruce Sutter on the mound, because the people here in Milwaukee have seen this wrecking crew pile up a lot of runs and in a hurry. The strike 1 pitch is outside. They're going to check at third. No swing. 1-1. For instance, the high for Milwaukee this year, they scored 9 runs in an inning against the Yankees. And they've had 19 hits in a game. The 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed. 1-2.
You might pile up a lot of runs off a lot of people, Benny, but I'll tell you what, I don't like the chance of piling them up off a Sutter.
That's right. 1-2 the count. Bearded Bruce looks in to get a sign from Darrell Porter. Jim Gantner waiting, and the 1-2 pitch is poked in the air to left field. Lonnie Smith coming in and over. He's there to handle it. 1 away. So they get Gantner for the first time tonight, and the batter will be Paul Molitor. Molitor flied to center, struck out, and flied to center again. His first fly ball in the first inning, Willie McGee caught it 402 feet from center field. Fully extended arm and reaching up into the heavens to get it. So he really gave it a ride. So Molitor with 1 out in the 8th. And the Brewers now starting to run out of time. They have only 5 outs left to them. Suter delivers, swung on and missed. 0-1. Suter blowing on his hands. Remember, we told you he asked the umpires if he would be allowed to do so, and evidently they have now given him permission. He can blow on his hands on the mound. The strike one pitch is fouled away, 0-2. It's a little bit cooler than at the start, and consequently the permission granted earlier, and Duhar was penalized for going to his mouth. 0-2 the count to Paul Molitor. Molitor, right-hand batter. Robin Yount on deck. The Brewers have had 2 opportunities. They left runners at second and third in the 3rd, and they left the bases loaded in the 7th. There's a ground ball just foul outside of 3rd and down the line, and the count 0-2. 56,556 taking in Game 3 of the World Series. Tomorrow, Game 4, 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And that will be the left-hander, Dave LaPointe, against the right-hander, Moose Haas. The strike 2 pitch is low, ball 1, 1-2. LaPointe was over here with Milwaukee, and one of his closer pals is Moose Haas. And they go up against a buddy in the World Series. That's really something. 1-2 the count to Paul Molitor. Suter, right foot on the rubber, leaning on his left knee, now straightens up, and the 1-2 pitch is fouled away. Would you have any instructions to a team that has never seen Suter before to the hitters?
The only thing you possibly could tell him is try to make him get the ball up. Don't swing at anything unless it starts above the waist, because the bottom's falling out of it then.
1-2 the count to Paul Molitor. Suter ready, Bruce delivers, and he's low, 2-2.
And that's easy for me to say. You know, I'm not going up there. It's easy to sit there and say, well, get a good ball, because they all look good till you go to swing at it often.
Molitor battling to try and get something started with 1 out here in the 8th inning. The outfield very deep and way around the left, and the pitch to Molitor popped up in foul ground. Darrell Porter with Hernandez coming down the line, but it'll be Porter for the catch. So Molitor fouls out. 2 down in the 8th inning, and Robin Yount will be the batter. Yount flied to right, grounded to second, and then hit into a double play in the 6th inning when he punched the ball to Tommy Herr. They erased Gantner at second, and then Ozzie Smith threw Robin Yount out at first. So the Brewers now have 4 outs left to them. Suter ready, Bruce delivers, and the pitch is low. Ball 1, 1-0. Yount with Cecil Cooper on deck. Well, I remember the other night you were talking about the 2 fellows in the Milwaukee lineup who could give Suter a bad time. You said Yount and Cooper.
Yount and Cooper, they're both good low ball hitters, and they're the 2, if anybody's going to give Suter any trouble, they're the 2 Vinny will.
Suter's low again, 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Robin. 0 for 3. He has a look at a strike. Yount 0 for 3 tonight. That makes him 5 for 13 in the series. Suter's 2-1 pitch is low. Ball 3. 3-1. Suter came in with the bases loaded and 2 out in the 7th to pitch to Charlie Moore, and Moore fouled the first pitch and was caught by Ken Obergefell. 3-1 pitch is outside. Ball 4. So a 2-out pass to Robin Yount, and that will bring up Cecil Cooper. Pete Vukovich has walked only 1 man, and Duhar walked only 1. Bear walked 1, and now Suter has walked his 1. So with Yount at first and 2 out, Cecil Cooper grounded out and twice flied to center. And Suter delivers, swung on and missed. 0-1. Suter blowing on his hand after every pitch. and the breeze has picked up a little bit, blowing from left to right. 0-1. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals, no runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for Milwaukee. Strike one pitch. Cooper swings and a high drive into deep right field. Back goes Hendrick. She's gone. Cooper rides it out over the right field wall with Robin Yount aboard. That makes it Cardinals 5 and Milwaukee 2. And Cooper got it all. Pitch around the knees to drive it out. Now the batter is Ted Simmons. And Suter ready, delivers. Simmons takes a strike, and the count 0-1.
Like we were talking, Vinny, Cooper is such a good low ball hitter, and a guy like Suter is really right up his alley.
For Suter, during the regular years, he allowed 8 home runs.
Can you imagine even saying that Suter's right up your alley? I can't even imagine that.
1-1, the count now to Ted Simmons. So a 2-out, 2-run home run by Cecil Cooper makes it 5-2 St. Louis. Suter deals, and there's a chopper up along first. Hernandez has it, walks it to the bag, and that's it. A quick 2, and at the end of 8, Cardinals 5, Milwaukee 2.
WMAQ. If you think you're paying more than you have to for your homeowner's insurance, check with State Farm. State Farm is known for low-cost homeowners insurance. Your State Farm agent will give you a good price and good coverage. And if you have a question or a claim, your State Farm agent makes sure you get prompt attention. For an outstanding value on your homeowner's insurance, check with State Farm.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The average car may be getting smaller, but the average American is getting taller. That's why the small, efficient Buick Skyhawk doesn't forget Buick's biggest fans. With an optional 1.8-liter engine, it offers an EPA estimated MPG of 28. Use estimated MPG for comparisons. Actual mileage may be different. But inside, there's luxury and room for even those with above-average dimensions. The 1983 Buick Skyhawk. Like a lot of people, you'll fit right in.
Friends, here's a must-have gift for the baseball fans in your family. The official 1982 World Series souvenir program. The same one sold at the World Series. Send your check or money order for $4 to World Series program, Post Office Box 9800R, St. Paul, Minnesota, 55198. $4 to World Series program, Post Office Box 9800R, St. Paul, Minnesota, 55198. Include your name and address, allow 6 weeks for delivery, and if ordering from Canada, send $450 in U.S. funds. A preceding message furnished by Major League Baseball. At the end of 8 innings, 5-2 St. Louis. And let's pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves.
It's Jimmy Pearsall after the game on 67 WMAQ Chicago.
Here at County Stadium, as the game goes on to the 9th inning, Joaquin Andujar is being taken by stretcher into an ambulance and will leave the ballpark and go to Mount Sinai Hospital for x-rays. Meanwhile, George Hendrick takes outside, ball 1, 1-0. Hendrick, an infield single, walked and grounded out. He has a distinction. George takes a strike, and the count 1-1. Hendrick had an infield single in the 2nd inning and was left at 3rd. He is the only Cardinal to be left on base tonight. The 1-1 pitch on the way is low, ball 2. Meanwhile, Milwaukee has left 5. They left 2 men in the 3rd inning, and they left the bases loaded in the 7th. Now the 2-1 pitch to George Hendrick. Swung on and fouled back. So Hendrick is 1 for 2 tonight with a walk. Makes him 1 for 9 in the series. The 2-2 pitch on the way. George swings, fly ball down the left field line. Coming in and over is Ben Oglesby to handle it. And wait a minute. John Kibler is saying no. And he's going to charge Ted Simmons with catcher's interference. He tipped the bat, and George Hendrick will be awarded first base.
And the funny part of it, Vin, George didn't even realize it. George Hendrick does not know that he was interfered with, but Ted Simmons does know it.
There was no argument. Simmons never said a word. So give Simmons an error and put George Hendrick at first on catcher's interference. They used to call it tipping the bat, whereby the catcher's mitt, in reaching for the pitch, the mitt gets in front of the bat and actually slows down the swing, although he hit a fairly good fly ball to left field. Now, Darrell Porter takes high, ball 1-0.
You have to really give the umpire, John Kilber, credit there, Ben, because George Hendricks didn't even really realize it or say anything, and John was right on top of the play. That's where you really got to give an umpire credit.
Darrell Porter is going to talk to Chuck Hiller for a while. It seems almost impossible to call. You'd be so interested in looking at the pitch and whether it's in the strike zone, and yet somehow, I guess, a veteran umpire who's been around long enough, he knows.
Well, in all fairness and honesty to the umpires, I think they're in the game a whole bunch more than a lot of us are, including some of us managers.
As we mentioned, John Kibler, working his third World Series. He's also worked 3 League Championship Series, 3 All-Star games. And he started his first National League game way back in 1963. So they have a pro behind the plate. A throw to first base, Hendrick back to the bag. By the way, on the catcher's interference and the error charged to Ted Simmons, that's the 3rd error charged to Milwaukee tonight. Here's the 1-0 pitch coming up. Porter's around to bunt. Does in the air, foul. Cooper coming, dives, caught it. What a play.
We're seeing some great plays in this World Series so far, Vinny. In just 3 games, we've seen some outstanding plays.
So Cecil Cooper making a diving catch of that foul bunt. And, of course, right on the heels of his 2-run home run in the 8th inning. And now here is Lonnie Smith. And we'd like to alert our stations a local break is coming up after the 3rd out. Lonnie Smith grounded to short in the 2nd inning, doubled in the 5th inning. That's when it would have been a triple, but he fell down, and then tripled in the 7th and scored on the overthrow, the error charged to Jim Gantner. Vukovich delivers. Lonnie takes high. Ball 1-0. Cardinals 5 runs, 5 hits, no errors. Milwaukee 2 runs, 5 hits, 3 errors. There have been 3 home runs, 2 of them by Willie McGee, and the other Cecil Cooper. We mentioned there were 2 other rookies that hit 2 home runs in a game, Tony Kubek, and also Charlie Keller, King Kong, rookie back in '39 with the New York Yankees. There's a high fly ball into left field. Back goes Ogilvie on the track now, and Ben makes the catch for the out. And back to first base comes George Hendrick. A long fly ball out for Lonnie Smith. 2 down, and the batter, Dane Orge. Orge hit back to the box, was aboard on Cooper's error in the 5th inning, and flied to center field in the 7th. Orge has a look at Chuck Hiller. On deck is Willie McGee. Vukovich, right foot on the rubber, checking with Ted Simmons. Hendrick off the bag at first. And the pitch over for a strike, 0-1. When the Brewers come up in the bottom of the 9th, they have Ben Ogilvie, Gorman Thomas, and Don Money against Bruce Sutter. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way, high and inside, 1-1.
You know, Vinny, Vukovich giving up 5 runs. A lot of people think, well, 5 runs, he didn't pitch a good game. He's pitched a great game tonight.
In looking back, the thing that you pointed out in the 5th inning, if Cooper doesn't make the error on Orge, we'll never know, but he could have gotten out of that inning. The 1-1 pitch on the way, Orge swings and fouls it away. It hit the shin guard of Ted Simmons and went all the way back out to the mound. 1-2 the count. 2 down, top of the 9th inning. St. Louis 5, Milwaukee 2. Don't forget, 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Dave LaPointe and Moose Haas, Game 4 of the World Series. Vukovich, who won 18 during the regular season, out of a stretch. Big right-hander set at the belt, and the 1-2 pitch straightened up Orge. 2-2 to Dane. Orge hitting .200 as the designated hitter. Hit back to the box, aboard on the error, fly to center, 0 for 3. Vukovic ready in the 2-2 pitch. Dane fouls it away. Just did get a piece of it to run it back to the screen. Dave LaPointe, a 9-game winner, will be going for the Cardinals tomorrow, a talented left-hander. And it'll be Moose Haas, 11-8, with an earned run average of almost 4.5. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Dane Orge. Vukovic, very deliberate. Set, ready, delivers, and Orge hooks it down the right field line. Foul. So Dane Orge hits it hard but foul in the corner in the count 2-2. You know, it was interesting the other night when Ted Simmons came up and hit a long, loud, foul, near home run down the, and then hit the next pitch for a home run.
Just don't see it very often. Benny, I only seen one time Joe Pignatano. I seen Joe Pignatano hit a home run in Shreveport in the Texas League, in Shreveport, Louisiana. He hit out of turn. They called the hitter out. Joe came back and hit the next pitch out.
Here's a 2-2 pitch coming up to Dane Orge. Vukovic ready, fires, and it's fouled away the other way, off third out of play. That is really remarkable.
And the funny part is I think Joe hit about 2 for the year.
I was going to say, of all the people in this world, Joe Pignatano. Joe, of course, a likable catcher with the Dodgers, who now is a trusted aide for Joe Torre in Atlanta. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Dane Orge. Vukovic delivers, and that one is hooked, and this time it's going to be in the right field corner for a base hit. A fan leans over the railing and touches the ball, and that will take Hendricks' run back. He'll have to go to third. They'll rule it a ground rule double. So Dane Orge will go to second, and Hendrick has a wind sprint. He'll go back to third. It's funny, too, a fan here in Milwaukee was almost crucified for interfering with a ball during the championship series, and you would think they would have learned. Now, Whitey is going to come out and say, wait a minute. First of all, I can see the fan making it a double, but my man Hendricks should be in the barn, right?
Absolutely. What Whitey's going to ask there, Benny, is just because the fan touched it, that don't make it a ground rule double, and Hendricks has to stay at third. If, in the umpire's opinion, Hendricks could have made it, he can give him home, and Whitey's agreeing with him that he couldn't. He's going to have him asked.
Dave Phillips is coming down, and also Bill Haller, the American League umpire in the foul line, is coming down. Whitey is hot.
Now Whitey's getting heated up.
And evidently saying, yeah, I know all about the fan leaning over and touching the ball, but my man was home. And Whitey is arguing with John Kibler, and he will lose the argument, I would assume. It is 5-2 Cardinals, but instead of having a run home, there are runners at second and third with 2 out. What makes it particularly galling is you're the visiting team, and you've been penalized by something that happened by the home team's fans.
Yeah, and Whitey knows he has Hendricks, can run, and Hendricks can stretch it out. And I knew Whitey, I was positive Whitey was going to come out and say, hey, wait a minute now, this ain't no ground rule double. My man can be put at home if, in your judgment, he could have made it home.
Well, they're going to stop Willie McGee tonight. They found a way to do it. First base open, they're going to take the bat right out of his hands and walk him. Ozzie Smith will be coming up next.
Willie said, I finally proved to him I got some power.
Boy, and how. He had 2 home runs left-handed all year, and he hit 2 home runs tonight against Vukovic in the 5th inning with 2 on, and then in the 7th inning with nobody on. So with first base open and 2 out, there is no reason to pitch to him. They'll take their chances with Ozzie Smith. Ozzie is 0 for 3 tonight. Ozzie is 2 for 10 in the series. So Willie McGee is at first. Dane Orge is at second. George Hendrick is at third. And the batter, Ozzie Smith. Ted Simmons out to the mound to talk to Pete Vukovic. Ozzie rolled out to short, flied to center, popped to short. He has not hit the ball hard. We're in the 9th inning, and the Cardinals leading Milwaukee 5-2. Vukovic looks into Ted Simmons. A big right-hander ready and delivers. And the first pitch a little high. Ball 1-0. To repeat, the Brewers in the bottom of the 9th have Ben Oglivie, Gorman Thomas, and Don Money. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way. Vukovic serves it, and it's whacked foul outside of first, down the line, and the count 1-1. Ozzie getting the ball up and in. Got a good piece of it. However, he's hit the ball in the air 2 of his 3 at-bats, and that's not what the Cardinals want, especially with this fast infield. Vukovic out of a windup, and the 1-1 pitch on the way. Outside, ball 2, 2-1. So Hendrick down the line from third, Orge away from second, McGee at first, and the 2-1 pitch very high, ball 3. And the crowd groaning in anguish now. 3-1, the count to Ozzie. Vukovic ready, and Pete delivers, and it's very high, so they walked in the run. And it is 6-2 in favor of the Cardinals, and Harvey Keene is up the steps and making his way out to the mound. So Ozzie Smith gets a walk and a run batted in. Willie McGee takes second, Dane Orge goes to third, and Hendrick, who had been home once and called back, comes in. 6-2 in favor of the Cardinals. 6 runs, 6 hits. Milwaukee 2 runs, 5 hits, and 3 errors. So the error by Ted Simmons on the fly ball. Remember, this inning should have been over 1-2-3. But the catcher's interference on the fly ball put Hendrick aboard, and 2 outs later, why the Birds are still in business.
The errors have really hurt Vukovic tonight, because I think he's pitched a whale of a ball game.
Well, now let's just see. If Dane Orge, if that ball is fielded by Cooper, you have a runner at third with 2 out, and as you said, Sparky, maybe they pitch differently to Willie McGee.
Totally different.
In the 7th inning, Lonnie Smith tripled with 1 out, but then came home when the throw by Gantner got away. And now here's another error, and the catcher's interference that's cashed in. The batter is the switch-hitting Tommy Herr, and they will go to their only left-hander, Bob McClure, and that will turn Tommy Herr around, make him bat right-handed. And Bob McClure will come jogging in from the Milwaukee bullpen, and while he does that, and the new pitcher is warming up, let's pause for this.
NFL, the World Series, NCAA basketball, the big events you want to follow are here with CBS Radio Sports live coverage all year long. And all week, you want to keep up with your favorite sports. Here's how to do it, Monday through Friday.
Good morning, everybody. Jim Kelly with the Sports World Roundup on the CBS
And early morning recap of competition, highlights, scores, and player comments.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger with Sports Time.
A look ahead to future events, plus Brent's views and interviews.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kurt Gowdy on sports.
A profile, an interview, a candid comment on a hot sports issue. And Saturday and Sunday, you'll hear from
Bill Schweitzer, Sports Time.
Top of the morning broadcast to start off each sports day. And then all day and night, Saturday and Sunday.
I'm Win Elliott. I'm Jim Hunter.
Howard Davis. Sports Central USA covers what's happening as it happens. 18 separate weekend editions. Follow your favorite sports with CBS Radio's Jim Kelly, Brent Musburger, Kurt Gowdy, Win Elliott, Howard David, and Jim Hunter every day of the year on most of these CBS Radio Network stations. Hear it here.
Bob McClure tuning up on the mound, and we'd like to alert our stations a local break is coming up after the 3rd out here in the 9th inning. The catcher's interference gave Hendrick first. Porter fouled out on a great diving catch by Cecil Cooper, and Lonnie Smith flied out. And instead of the side being retired, Hendrick was still at first with 2 out. Dane Orge got the ground rule double that sent Hendrick to third. McGee was walked intentionally, and then Ozzie Smith walked to force in the run. For Pete Vukovic, he made 119 pitches, but as Sparky pointed out, he pitched a lot better than the score would indicate. And typical of Vukovic, almost half of the hitters, he found himself behind on the count.
Yeah, well, that's very typical of him. He likes to pitch that way, Ben. I think he feels like he makes better pitches when he's behind.
Tommy Herr not only loses a couple of steps to first base when he hits right-handed, he loses 93 points in his average this year. He's hitting .294 left-handed and .201 right-handed. McClure ready, delivers, and a good breaking ball after a great fake at second. Boy, he's got more moves. What's the old gag about a one-arm paper hanger with a 7-year itch? He's really moving out there.
He looks like Tion.
0-1, the count to Tommy Herr. Herr is 0 for 4 tonight, hitting only 100 in the series. Tommy has 1 hit in 10 at-bats. McClure, a check and a fastball and a ground ball down to Gantner. Jim picks it up and flips over to Cooper. However, they get an unearned run, 1 hit and leave 3. And at the end of 8 1/2, the Cardinals 6, Milwaukee 2.
1919, a restaurant opened on the near west side that was destined to become a Chicago tradition. The name? Barney's Market Club, still a favorite today. Located at 741 West Randolph, Barney's is renowned for their prime rib, thick, juicy steaks, and excellent seafood selection.
He lined out to right and then struck out twice. And Suter delivers outside, ball 1-0. Ogilvie was the first man that Suter had to contend with after getting Charlie Moore. He comes back to him, and the pitch is in there for a strike. So Ogilvie, Thomas, and Money in the bottom of the ninth inning, 6-2 St. Louis. Trying to go one up in game 3. Suter from a stretch, and the 1-1 pitch is a ground ball back of first, off the glove of Hernandez, and Ogilvie is safely aboard.
You know, I've seen Hernandez for quite a few years when I was over in the National League. He's by far, I think, him and Danny Dreesen, the Cincinnati first baseman, are the most outstanding fielding first basemen in baseball, along with this kid Eddie Murray over at Baltimore. He's outstanding. Poor Keith has had about 3 errors in this series.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That's another ball he normally handles. So Ogilvie is aboard on the error charge to Hernandez. And the batter is Gorman Thomas. Struck out, popped up, and singled. 6-2 St. Louis, bottom of the ninth. And they load up again. Tommy Hurd directly behind the bag at second. And then you have Ozzie Smith deep in the hole. And Oberkfell, not on the line, however, deep at third. Suter ready. And the pitch to Gorman, low. Ball 1-0. The Brewers have had 3 shots tonight. Second and third, and 1 out in the third. Bases loaded, 2 out in the 7th. And then finally scored on the 2-out, 2-run home run by Cecil Cooper. Suter blowing on his hand. Gorman Thomas waiting at the plate. 56,556 looking on. Line drive foul over the head of third base coach Harry Warner. 1-1. But, of course, for the Cardinals, you have to look back to the magnificent effort by Joaquin Andujar, who was struck on the kneecap in the 7th inning by Ted Simmons. He was pitching an overpowering shutout until that point and had to be carried off the field. Andujar is at Mount Sinai Hospital now, x-rays of the kneecap being taken. Gorman hits a high fly ball into left center field. McGee to the wall, leaps in the air, caught the ball. And back to first goes Ogilvie. Willie McGee took a 2-run home run away from Gorman Thomas.
Benny, I'll make you a bet that he doesn't have one writer around his locker after this game.
What a play. Willie just timed his leap. That was a much more difficult catch than the one he made on Molitor. He must be a good basketball player, too, because he looked like he was going up at the boards, and that thing would have gone above the yellow line. Again, it's Tain't Funny McGee.
It ain't Funny McGee is right.
1 away, and Don Money the batter, and he takes a strike. A magnificent play by Willie McGee. Oh, so all the kid has done is hit 2 home runs, made 2 circus catches in the outfield.
Benny, that's what's so great about a World Series. So many people get to see people that they didn't really know anything about.
0-1, the count to Don Money, and the pitch is low, 1-1. There are rumors that there are an awful lot of people in the New York Yankee front office who are going to pack up and take a hike because the fact that Willie McGee is out of the organization, and Tim Lawler is gone, and Chris Welsh, and several others. 1-1 to Don Money. Money walked, hitting for Roy Howell in the 7th, and takes low.
Well, I'm glad they spread some of them around, because what they have still got, if they had all those guys, it'd be awful rough.
2-1 to Money. Charlie Moore on deck. Boy, was that ever a magnificent play by Willie McGee. Money checks up, but it's going to cost him a strike anyway. And the count 2-2. So a dazzling catch by Willie McGee, taking a 2-run home run away from Gorman Thomas. McGee way over in left center. The outfield swung over on Money as far as you can get, and there's strike 3 called. Suter hit the inside corner, and down goes Money. And the Brewers are left to their last out.
You know, Benny, on the other side of the coin, you have to give some people in that Cardinal organization an awful lot of credit that they spotted what the talent in this young man.
Willie McGee, what a story. Charlie Moore walked in the third inning, grounded out in the fifth, and high drama in the seventh. He faced Bruce Sutter with the bases loaded and 2 out and fouled out to Oberkfell on the first pitch. Charlie takes a strike and the count 0-1. It wasn't an easy foul. Oberkfell made a fine play, tiptoeing on the top step of the Cardinal dugout, backhanding the ball, and there was an awful lot of white sticking up from the webbing. He just did hold on to it. Strike one pitch is punched foul off to the right, 0-2. So with the 3 errors by Milwaukee and a couple of exceptional defensive plays by the Cardinals, and then, of course, the presence of McGee and Lonnie Smith, the Cardinals are about to take a 2-1 lead in this 1982 World Series.
And then before we go any further, John Kibler behind the plate has just an outstanding game tonight.
Wait till I tell him you said that. The strike 2 pitch is line drive foul. Wondering how many pitches Suter has made now. We were talking before when he gets to about 30, and the answer is 34. You can bet Whitey Herzog and Hub Kittle counting down in the Cardinal dugout. How many pitches he makes tonight will have a direct bearing on his availability tomorrow.
I'll make you a bet he'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure. So Bruce, standing on the rubber, has given up a home run tonight, and really would have given up 2 except for McGee. And here is Charlie Moore, 0 for 2, somehow trying to keep the game alive. The pitch to Charlie, foul back. 6-2 in favor of the St. Louis Cardinals. 6 runs, 6 hits, 1 error charged against Keith Hernandez, and then 2 runs, 5 hits, and 3 errors charged to Milwaukee. One of them on catcher's interference. Suter hiding the ball back of his right hip, looks in to get a sign, and now he's ready. And the strike 2 pitch is popped in the air to center. McGee was awfully deep. Here he comes, and McGee makes the running catch for the out. That's fitting.
He's done everything you can do in tonight's ball game.
And McGee getting some hugs from Ozzie Smith and a pat on the back from Tommy Herr and Keith Hernandez. An error and a man left in the 9th inning for Milwaukee. But the Cardinals have defeated Milwaukee 6 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. And Milwaukee 2 runs, 5 hits, and 3 errors. The winning pitcher, hard luck Joaquin Andujar. The losing pitcher, Pete Vukovich. We won't have any more reports on Andujar until tomorrow. We're going to give our stations a chance for a message. Let's pause for this word.
Before winter weather stops your car cold, True Value Hardware stores want to offer a winter driving tip. Hi, Pat Summerall suggesting you replace your old spark plugs now with new Champion Copper Plus spark plugs. They'll give more than twice the fouling protection of other major brands to help prevent stalling, misfiring, or bad starts. In a cold weather test against another major brand, Champion Copper Plus spark plugs continued to fire and start long after the others had fouled and stopped. And you'll find them at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Sweetest Day is Saturday, October 16th, and time is running out. So before it's too late, make someone happy with the sweetest gift of all, a gift of beautiful flowers from Fabrini's Flowers and Gifts, your FTD florist in Hoffman Estates and Schaumburg. Stop by One Golf Center or call 885-2000 and delight that special someone with a special bouquet of flowers. Remember, Fabrini's Flowers and Gifts can send your sweetest day thoughts with special care. 1027 at WMAQ. Jimmy Pearsall coming up in just a moment or two.
The totals again for the Cardinals, 6 runs, 6 hits, and an error. And the Brewers, 2 runs, 5 hits, and 3 errors. Sparky, the Cardinals now have done the tough game. They first spotted Milwaukee, the opening game victory. Now they not only caught them at home, but they came in here to win one. You look at the Cardinal Ball Club tomorrow, and you have Dave LaPointe, a left-hander, against Moose Hawes. What are your thoughts going in on that one?
I just like both clubs, and I like the way the series is going. I really feel like it's going to be at least a 6-game series. I don't have any idea which club's going to win it. Both clubs are solid. The one thing that I'm getting a feel for is the Cardinal club. Then he looks like a weak club. There doesn't look like there's one eye guy on their club, and it's a funny feeling. You get that feeling when you play Baltimore. They have one of those clubs that looks like, hey, it's we're the Cardinals, not one star here and one star over there. Suter even fits in. He's not the whole team. To me, Whitey has done a tremendous job. I'm already getting that feeling from the Cardinals that, hey, this is a wee club and we're from St. Louis. That's the type of feeling I'm getting.
I would think that they have to be highly spirited now coming in here winning this game. The only downer is the loss of Andujar.
No question about it, but Milwaukee had that terrible loss going into the series. They knew they weren't going to have fingers. I think that possibly there's a chance Andujar, if it is just a bad bruise, will be back. But if he isn't, I still believe that both of these clubs are so good and so capable of doing a lot of things that both of them will bounce back. I don't think at any time, I never get the feeling that one club is going to be down tomorrow. I feel Milwaukee, for instance, tomorrow is going to be right back up again.
You know, I was just thinking, a World Series can take an unknown and make him a national hero one game. And take a fella by the name of Willie Dean McGee. Now, first of all, he's from San Francisco. So with a name like Willie coming from San Francisco, he's got to play center field. But with a middle name like Dean, he has to be with the Cardinals, right?
Yeah, it's a good mixture. It really is. And it's so nice to see a young man come onto the scene like that. I think sometimes even the fan gets tired of always hearing the ballyhoo of certain people and certain people and certain people, where this way you get a chance to really see a good young player that's coming onto the scene.
He's only 23 years old, is Willie Dean McGee, but what a night. 2 home runs, one with 2 men aboard, one with the bases empty. 2 fine catches, one of the 2 outstanding. One ball, it just showed his ability to go to the center field fence, turn around, and make the catch. The other one, he had to run, get to the wall, time his leap, somehow backhand the ball, and take a home run away from Gorman Thomas.
The thing I like, though, Vinny, he goes directly to where the ball is. It seems like that he's not looking at the ball all the time. He just turns, goes, and he has a great feel to know where that ball is.
You can't teach that.
Can't teach it. Willie Mays was the greatest there ever was. There'll never be another Mays. I don't care. I can't believe it's possible another Willie Mays will ever come down the pike. But this young man is a very good one.
Yeah, he's fun. And, of course, the other startling thing about Willie McGee, he had 4 home runs all year, 2 right-handed, 2 left-handed, and then as in a World Series game in County Stadium, he hits 2 out left-handed.
Well, and the thing, I'm going to look forward to seeing tomorrow's paper to see if he pops off any, because I just have a good feeling that Willie McGee is not a pop-off. He just come out here to play baseball. He seems like a very intense young man that's kind of nervous, and he's having fun playing.
Well, we might hear from him if we're lucky, because we'll send it down to the field for some post-game interviews with Win Elliott in 60 seconds. Right now, let's pause for this word.
After the game, it's Jimmy Pearsall on WMAQ.
The Buyers Flea Market and Farmers Market is jumping like never before. More dealers, more bargains, more savings, and more fun. Thousands of people find new ways to save every Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Buyers Flea Market, 4545 West Division Street, just 2 blocks east of Cicero Avenue. The market is bigger and better than ever before, with more ways to save, more antiques, more auto supplies, more hardware and tools, more housewares, more clothing and shoes, more furniture, more sports and fishing gear, jewelry, cameras, more TVs and stereos, records and tapes, plus produce, good food, and much more. Listen to this week's extra savings buys. At Booth 80, used black and white TVs, $30, color $99. Booth 133, personalized custom-made photo pillows, $10. T-shirts for $6.50. These are just a few of the thousands of ways to save. More than ever, you should visit the Buyers Flea Market and Farmers Market every Saturday and Sunday, year-round, rain or shine. The huge indoor-outdoor market is at 4545 West Division Street, and that's 2 blocks east of Cicero Avenue with free on-premise parking.
Well, Sparky, I enjoyed it. Just a reminder, we'll be back at it again, 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow for Game 4.
It'll be another good one, Ben.
And how? And we're going to meet Willie Dean McGee. Tain't funny, McGee. For Sparky Anderson, this is Vin Scully. Let's go down to the field. Take it away, Win Elliott.
All right, Van, and Willie McGee is standing right beside me. I think he's about the most modest ball player I've ever met. You don't seem nervous. You don't seem excited. You seem just a little reticent. How do you feel, Willie?
Well, when I got up here, George Hendrick, he told me something one of the first days I got in, and he had told me several times since. He said, when things are going good, just try to keep it at a medium, and when things are going bad, try to stay at that same medium. So that's been the approach I've been taking all season, and it's been working, fortunately.
Well, Willie, this was a day I'm sure you're never going to forget. Now, here's time that you're not going to have to say anything. All you have to do is listen. This is the 5th inning. Your team is up. Lonnie Smith hadn't got a hit in the whole series. Then he gets a double. Then Dane Ord gets on an error from the first baseman, Cecil Cooper. You come to the bat. You're facing Pete Vukovich. Take it away. Let's listen.
Vukovich ready, delivers, and McGee hits a high fly ball into deep right field. Back goes Charlie Moore, away back. It's gone. Home run, Willie McGee.
Willie, I'll bet there was a time when you were a kid you used to listen to the broadcast and you'd hear something like that.
Right. Like I said, I still can't believe I'm here. You know, I'm used to sitting at home watching it about this time. You know, end of the season at the end of September, just going home and thinking about next year, you know, thinking about being in the big leagues. And here I am, my first year, you know, actually playing in the World Series. So, like I said, everything hasn't sunk in yet, and I hope it does until after the season is over.
Well, I'm not going to pinch you because I want you to stay here and listen to the 7th inning now. That was 3-0. That was your first hit in the series. That was your first home run in the series. Now we come to the 7th inning. Porter flies out to the shortstop. Lonnie Smith comes up. He'd gotten that double before you won the home run. Hey, Lonnie, come on over here. Lonnie Smith is standing by. This is the guy that came from here. I'm going to put my earphones, one on you. When you got up in the 7th inning, and Porter had just flied out, and Vin Scully is calling the play-by-play. I'm going to watch your face as you listen. Go ahead, Vin.
Lonnie Smith is the batter. Lonnie grounded a short, and then hit one up the alley in the 5th inning. Might have been a triple, but he fell down and had to settle for a double. Vukovic into the windup. Pete Reddy delivers, and there's a slicing drive into right center. That's going to be trouble. There's nobody there. It goes to the wall. And this time, Lonnie's flying. He's around second, on his way to third. The relay is in there, gets by third into the Cardinal dugout, and Lonnie Smith scores. And they'll have to give, I guess, Jim Gantner the throwing.
Hey, Vin, while you were calling him tripling around, going around the bases, Lonnie's face broken. He's why? Go ahead and laugh, old boy. Enjoy it. Have the ball. He broke into a grin about 3 times, but he stopped, and there he is. Now he trotted in. Now, he gets home. The next guy comes up is, guess who? Oh, Ord. He flies out to center field. And then Willie, who can't believe he's here, comes to the plate. What happened, Willie?
Well, I got the first pitch was kind of in tight, and I think he was just trying to brush me back. And the next pitch, I felt he had to come over the plate, and it was a good pitch to hit, and I just swung and trying to make contact as usual, and the ball just went off the yard. So what can I say,
All right, go ahead, Vin, and I'll count the grins again.
He had grounded out leading off in the 3rd, but with runners at 1st and 3rd and 1 out in the 5th, he hit it in the bleachers in right field. McGee hits another drive to right field, and that might go. It's gone. Home run, McGee.
Home run, McGee. Doesn't that sound good? Hey, let me ask you, Willie, would you like a cassette of these things so that you could keep them forever and remember this day? Just close your eyes and listen.
I wish I could get a videotape, but I'll settle with the cassette.
All right, I tell you, we'll get you the cassette and let the other people try out with the videotape. All right, we're going to jump to the 9th inning. Oh, Andujar gets hurt in the inning, as you know. The report, as you probably know, is he was hit below the kneecap, but he seems to be all right. He's at the hospital now. You have 4 pitchers come in, and your big split-finger guy throws 1 pitch to Moore. He pops out foul on the 5th. There's a little trouble from here and there, but it comes to the last out, and once again, it's Willie McGee on the spot. He's roaming around in center field. Do you like it when they hit it out there to you?
I like to play defense, and I like to really go up against the fence and catch a ball. But the only thing I fear, in these parks is the hard walls. I wish they could make them all like San Diego, or put some kind of air, when you hit them, that an airbag or something that it collapse, and that way I think it'll make the game a lot more exciting,
I agree. All right, we're going to tell Mr. Seelig we want airbags out there in center, not only for Willie, for Gorman and everybody. All right, Steve, let's hear Willie McGee on his horse now in center field on what was probably the most dramatic play in the last inning. Let's listen.
And Duhar is at Mount Sinai Hospital now. X-rays of the kneecap being taken. Gorman, it's a high fly ball into left center field. McGee to the wall, leaps in the air, caught the ball. And back to first goes Ogilvy.
Well, wasn't it exciting?
No, I don't know.
When the ball is coming out to the right, aren't you saying to yourself, oh, God, I want to catch it or anything?
Well, I don't know. I just be thinking, I don't know, it's instinct, really. That's all it is. I don't be thinking too much.
Yeah.
Either you're going to catch it or you don't,
Yeah, and you did.
Right.
Lonnie, what do you think the feeling is going to be with the Cardinals now after tonight?
Well, I think everybody's pretty up again. Everyone's happy that we were able to win. We're happy that Willie was able to have such a nice night as he had, and we're looking forward to tomorrow, and hopefully we can pull the same thing.
Right. Congratulations, Lonnie. I want to say to you, Willie, if all the ball players or any athletes I've ever known would carry the tremendous enthusiasm, the great plays as modestly as you have tonight. It's almost embarrassed that you played so well. Man, I'm for you. I'm for you, Willie. You're my kind of guy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And have just as good a night tomorrow, too. Good night, Lonnie. Oh, boy. He is a nice young man. He is so humble and so, he almost won't look at you. He can't believe that it's happened to him. Okay, what's left? Just time enough for me to say that CBS Radio Sports has been happy to bring you the third game of the 1982 World Series. Tonight's broadcast sponsored by Buick and your Buick dealer, by Budweiser Light, by Prestone 2 Antifreeze, by Delco Electronics, by the State Farm Insurance Companies, and our engineers tonight, Steve Kirsch and Colin Jarrett. Our producer, David Kerman. Frank Miller is the executive producer for CBS Radio Sports. Tonight has been Willie McGee night here at Milwaukee County Stadium, but we'll be back here again tomorrow for game number 4 between the Cardinals and the Brewers. Maybe a new hero. Who knows? We'll be on the air at 1:10. That's Eastern Time, 12:10 Central, 10:10 Pacific Time. The final score of the game, again, was Willie McGee 6, the Milwaukee Brewers 2. Along with Vin Scully and Sparky-Anderson, I'm Win Elliott, and from County Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it's so long for CBS Radio Sports.
This is WMAQ.